I can't hear you, Joe. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. My mic was hard muted. Hello.
Hello.
Hey everybody, this is session 9 of Assault on Thaeth, following a bunch of Goblin commandos through the attack on an elven city and port, and you guys have already conquered it, and you had a lot of stuff going on. Who remembers what happened last session?
So we began directly in the aftermath of the fight at the Church of Gozreh. We wait, have a bit of a lag. Am I lagging pretty bad?
You seem fine to me.
Yeah, I think it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard Mycella came back on Echo, and I was like, oh, that's I shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, we started on the church. We interrogate our boy Folan, and he seems to be heartened by the discussion we have of the fisherman who told us how to take the town. And basically will let us do whatever we want with him. We put him in manacles, we march him back. Even cooks a delicious octopus meal. We all head back. There's a lot of talk of like getting people to come see the play. There's talk of going back to the church to show it. And that's not feasible because of the water. We go to the ruins. The people there are, as we suspected, the townspeople. The townspeople are all in a bad way. There's some, like the mayor, who are doing pretty well, but most of them look pretty rough. Even recognizes this as that these people are in the early stages of starvation. Like food is getting scarce, and they're starting to ration, but they're not going to be able to survive in the wild. We talked to the mayor. The mayor seems to not want to take that advice from us, and then Folan says, "You should take your people. You're all going to starve." Yes, sir. Sure, I'll be right there. I have to go hug baby, so I will be back.
Go ahead, yeah. All right, anybody else remember want to pick up where he left off?
Sure, I will. So the mayor refuses, even notices the starving people, and basically is like rounds up a whole bunch of food, dumps it on the ground, and is basically like, there's a lot more where that came from. Don't do this to yourselves. Like, be rational, come back. And a whole bunch did. Probably, like 80% of them or something?
Yeah, I think it was like 45 of the 60 that left, yeah. Correct.
Yeah, some crazy amount. So they came back. As we were making our way back, the party sort of discussing what to do with Folan, and ultimately decides to let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Even's kind of like, you got some of our thugs, we got some of yours. Let's consider things even. Like, just get out of here. Don't cause any more trouble. And Folan feels like he's got nothing left to do, no fight left in him, so he just kind of sulks off and accepts that. Party gets back to the town. We lie and say that Folan's dead, which was believed, and then I don't remember anything else super notable happening in the early part of when we got back to the town. I think we just sort of got quickly into the play. So the play happens, it goes off pretty well, although the dancer like really fumbles her part. And as much as like Frankko tries to cover it up, it's just so bad that it still just doesn't, they're just like not in sync where they're supposed to be in sync, but they get through it. And the show ends, and basically like the goblins take their bow first and yield the stage to the elves. Dancer comes and bows, and then the poet surprisingly gives a poem that he wrote, where he basically, talks about how the elves lost their way with Gozreh, and that this whole darkness might be a trial, and if so, he's like he feels like they should try to meet the challenge, and sacrifices himself at the end, and that's sort of where we left off.
Yep, that's where the last session ended. And then you wrote a little bit on Discord, so do you want to either read that or summarize it? You wrote it like prose-wise, so you could just read it if you like. But otherwise you can summarize it however you want to do it.
I'll quickly summarize it, I guess. Basically, so after the elf stabs itself and is falling to the ground, G-Pain rushes over trying to save it, casts a healing spell and is kind of just like totally freaked out. But Frankko, basically is like super compelled by this act and thinks it's basically making the show. And so he grabs G-Pain and is kind of like, no, don't do that. and whispers to him that this is the show now, and like, go with this energy. And so he sort of like dramatically lets the elf die and closes its eyes and has him and G-Pain slowly walk off the stage. And as they're in the back discussing it, and G-Pain's all surprised, like, why did you do that? You just let him die. Frankko sort of goes to start defending himself, but even comes in and is equally surprised and horrified. To which Frankko basically starts to reply and say, like, no, this was sort of a random act, but it like made the show so much better, and it's all transcendent now. And so Puck goes on this rant about how it's as the hair shows things that they must, as the hair shows things they must be, and basically compares the idea to hairs sometimes having to be cut or falling off to form a perfect hairdo. And how, this he sort of implies that this whole situation is what it's supposed to be, and that something better will come of it, and we just have to make good use of the hair that is now in our hands. Nobody from the party really understands that because fuck. And then basically even kind of ends by saying, well, at least there's one less, well, in even language, which is, as we mentioned, not full sentences, is kind of like, well, less mouths to feed. And that's kind of where we closed up shop.
And did you drag the body behind the curtain? I thought I read that. Am I?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So even and Opilius together dragged it back there.
Okay. Yep. And when it initially happened, Opilius kind of jumped up, and a bunch of the guards in the area also jumped up, and they were expecting this, like... they didn't know what they were expecting exactly. They were worried that the elves might get rowdy, but they weren't. They were confused and quiet for a while, and then there was, like, kind of an awkward slow clap that got into, not like a raucous applause, but, like, there was actual applause at the end of the play, as if this was... they're not sure if it was real or not, or what happened, but they were intrigued by it. Again, it made the play. It was transcendent. And the elves have some appreciation of culture. So, yeah, they loved it. And then Opilius basically ordered everybody, all the elves, back to the inn that they're staying at. Basically, again, they're being quartered at one inn. They've boarded up one of the doors, so there's only one way out, and they're under guard, so they order them all back. And Opilius stomps behind the curtains with you and is not very happy. So we will pick up there. And Opilius walks behind the curtain with you, and I guess he's helped you drag the body now across. And he says, "What in the nine hells was that?" And you can tell that he wants to be shouting, but he's keeping his mouth, his voice low, just in case there's still elves around.
You saw it. It was a show. It was the darkness. We showed them what's to come.
And he looks at the elf and then back at you, and he says, "I didn't see it. I didn't understand a goddamn thing in that play. What the hell were you doing? Like, you were dance fighting," when he gestures to the female dancer. "You were dance fighting with the elf, and then stumbling drunk the next scene. What the fuck was that?"
These elves have been here for weeks under our watch without any clue of what's going on. We got to give them something. This was at least something. They laughed. They liked it. Now at least, I don't know, maybe they'll cooperate a little bit more?
Do you think they'll... You just watch him stammer over his... Did you know about this? This was going to happen?
No.
Why did he do it then?
I mean, I can only take him at his word, right? He feels like everybody's trying to explain the darkness. His explanation falls back on, his loss of faith. If that's what they want to believe, like, let's let them believe it.
And he looks back at G-Pain, who was with him. He says, "What the hell did he say again?" Because he was saying it in Elven, and I guess G-Pain was translating next to him. So he asked G-Pain what the hell he said, but Shirag isn't here, obviously. So, but yeah, so he'll just remind him, he'll kind of reread the poem, or at least the bits he remembers about it. And he looks back at you and says, "What is that? Is that a prayer? What the hell is he praying for?"
You're asking the wrong guy. I'm not the religious type. I don't know if it's a prayer or not.
And he looks at all of the goblins, or any of you, the religious type.
Blood sacrifice. Some goblins do it.
I mean, he looks at you as if that's grotesque to him. That none of the human pantheon would do this. But Gozreh does exist in the human lands. No one's really done blood sacrifices to him or her. So he looks at you, confused for a moment, and again, just grotesque. He doesn't like it. He says, do you think the elves do that?"
And just shrugs.
They do now.
Yeah, that's Joe laughing. That's not Opilius laughing. Opilius is pissed off. And I'll read the poem now for anybody who didn't stay tuned to the end of the thing. It was, "O Gozreh, the Sky Father, she who reigns on all we plow, your name has fallen off our lips, but I pray you hear us now. Though some feel abandoned by you, it is clear now that we lost our way. There was truth in what Siron said, it was us who first turned away. So if you leave us to this trial, if this the darkness be, then we shall weather it as penance and ask only that you see. I know you disdain such hollow words, that your language is one of action and sacrifice. We have nothing left to offer in atonement, I can only hope that I suffice." And then he grabbed a hairpin out of his top knot and stabbed himself in the neck. Yeah, so Opilius, he's taken all these words, G-Pain is relaying again what he said, and he's super pissed off. And then he looks back at you, Frankko, and he says, "What exactly, once and for all, what exactly is this darkness you keep talking about? And why the fuck did an elf just kill himself over it?"
I don't think any of us know what this darkness is. I don't think any of us know why we're here right now. But we have to give the elves a reason to believe that we're here right now. And they've latched onto this darkness thing. We've given them something. At least we've given them something. Can you give us something? Why are we here? What are we doing?
We're here to take this port. This is ours now. We're here to take this town, to take this port for Voros, for the human empire. This is the first in many engagements with the elf empire, and we're here for the long haul. I don't know what this darkness is. I don't know what we're giving them or what they need or why they're latching onto this, but this seems dangerous.
What would you do instead?
I don't know. I don't know. We've driven an elf to suicide. I don't understand it. I don't understand why. I don't understand what. I don't even know what this darkness is. And you just said you don't know what the darkness is. No one seems to know what this is, but the elves seem to be taking it gravely seriously.
Well, again, they're either going to take our occupation very seriously of their town, or they're going to take this darkness seriously, and I'd go with the darkness.
You don't think those things would be related? That they would draw lines and parallels there?
Have they?
I don't know. I don't know what this elf was asking for. I don't know what he may have inspired other elves to start thinking.
Well, notably, he didn't kill us. He killed himself, right? So
That's good, I suppose. And he looks back at Eve and says, "But perhaps it was a blood sacrifice." And he thinks on it for a moment and sighs. He says, This was a mistake. Orin thought the elves might respect the show of art or culture, but this has gotten way out of hand." And he turns back to you, Frankko, and to G-Pain. "And you are forbidden from performing until I say otherwise. That's an order."
sir.
Frankko just sort of absorbs it and says nothing.
Okay.
Sir.
Yeah.
Forbidding make this a big deal. Make this not a big deal.
He looks at you and ponders for a moment. And what would you have us do then?
Encore performance?
He looks at you, says nothing, but there's just death in his gaze.
I say we poll the audience. We see what they think now that they've seen the play. If they're more subservient, then we win.
He doesn't seem happy with that. He's like, I don't want to talk about this darkness anymore. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to be poking this. And he shakes his head and he's thinking about it, but he sees some wisdom in what he even has said. And he says, fine, you're right. You're right. If we stopped it all now, they'd linger on this. And he looks back at you, Frankko, and says, nothing more about the darkness. Do light, comedy, poetry. He says, use that fucking thing, and he points to Rogan. Use that fucking thing, make him laugh.
That's easy enough.
And he's disgusted, and he basically throws his cape up and is gonna walk out unless anybody says anything else. Alright.
Notably, Chris said that he was going to try to heal the elf if he got the chance. I don't know if we're going to hang on to that or
yeah, I wasn't sure how that worked out because like Jeff wrote a whole big thing, and I don't know, Puck kind of worked into that, but in any event, if Puck does try to heal him, he will find out. I'll roll a heal check for Puck. I'm pretty sure it's low enough that he'll figure it out though. I forget who it was. G-Pain or Frankko had already seen that his mouth was foaming. Let me see. Puck, skills, medicine. Oh, I rolled privately. I'm great. I'll turn that off. Yeah. He rolled well enough that he now, he's aware that the elf not only stabbed himself in the neck, but he had some sort of a poison on the hairpin when he stabbed himself. So even if they administered first aid, even if G-Pain did use magical healing, he used Soothe or whatever it was last time, the elf still died as a result of other damage. And Puck does not think he can save this elf as much as he might want to. So, Opilius is left. You're there with a dead elf body. Are you doing anything interesting?
I think Frankko would just complain about Opilius a little bit to the group, right? Like, this guy fancies himself a leader, and here we are, like, trying our best to cover up his lack of leadership. And he comes at us for trying to take initiative here. Like, what are we doing?
So Squirrel totally commiserates and is continually befuddled by all the dynamics of the town. So he's just in total agreement. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what we can do to make this better.
Occupation with people is complicated. Easier to kill everyone. Not a good thing to do. Worried about revolt, worried about knives in our sleep.
Yeah, I mean, so are we. If he wants us to kill all of them, at least make that order. Just, it's to come at us when we're trying to actually have a plan is...
His job is control. This is not controlled.
Well, maybe the play was control. We don't know how the elves are reacting.
You said this is our plan. What is plan?
The plan is to give them a different enemy.
Or at least make them think that we aren't the enemy, right?
Yeah, we're in this together. All of us are casting off the darkness together.
Understood.
All right. You guys doing anything else?
Our numbers are lowered. If they all turn, we still win, but how many do we lose?
Yeah, should we do something with the body?
We should probably let them do what they would want to do with the body, yeah?
Yeah, whatever the normal elven rites are.
Yeah, they do a
They
thing and
burn-
then they cremate
They
them.
burn them, right?
Yep, they burn them. And they sprinkle the ashes in the
Get
trees.
Get someone tonight.
Yeah, do we have any
Spectacle.
friendly elven contacts?
No spectacle. Burn him quietly.
Maybe not the one that we threw mud at.
Yeah, there are a handful of elves that you are aware of that are friendly. Specifically, Squirrel, one you talked to during the that 2-week time jump where we were dealing with elf complaints, was Priya, was an elf woman who came to you. I forget which one she came to you with, but she came to you with one of the complaints. So you know her. She's rather helpful. There's also the priest of Sarenrae in town. Would be a good choice, like in terms of burning bodies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly Squirrel is interested in what Priya thinks about the play, but we should probably get the priest first to do something with the body that's appropriate to not inflame the townspeople.
Okay. And you want to do it quietly? You basically just want to have them go out to the woods and do it, or?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like routing things through Opilius right now is going to make much sense.
Fair enough.
Yeah, even along with to carry him.
Okay. Yeah, you go off and you find the priest of Sarenrae, and he's very much okay to do this, even the secretive part of it. So he'll go out to the woods, and even if you're going to drag the body out, he'll lead you not too deep into the woods or anything like that, but just to a clearing in the woods where you can build a pyre, do it, and then sprinkle the ashes on the nearby trees.
God, beautiful.
And as I mentioned before in previous sessions, he's been very helpful with the occupation. He's kind of served as like the interim leader because the mayor left. He's done a lot of the leading of the flock, basically. And he's kind of encouraged. He's played in heavily to the darkness theme because Sarenrae is all about light and sun versus darkness. So he kind of ate that up when you started pitching it. And the more devout worshippers in the town are very much in line with that sort of thinking. As a result of the sermons he's done in the 2 weeks you've been here, 2.5, 3 weeks.
And he hasn't been using the locks of Lee. What's the disparaging term?
Yeah, locks of Lee. He has never once said it. But again, you get the feeling that a lot of people in town did agree with what the mayor was saying back when they were saying it, but other people believed it to like different degrees. That's why 60 of them left, and I think 45 of them have since come back. So there are still like racists who were racist enough to follow the racist mayor who are now home because they were starving to death.
Right. Got it.
Yeah. So that happens, and this was all at night. I guess the play happened at night. So you guys do this that same night. You do the burning. And what else do you want to do?
I do want to talk to Priya
All right.
about what she thought about the play and what she got as in terms of what other people were thinking about it too. What other elves were thinking about it.
Yeah, so you go find Priya. And Priya seems to have understood a bit more of it than Opilius did. Opilius didn't seem to get any of it. Based on the discussion he had with Frankko, it went way over his head. It was very abstract. He didn't get all the dancing, and G-Pain was doing like the illusions and stuff like that. He didn't understand the dream sequences, none of it. But Priya, based on what she says, she seems to be following along with most of it. But she does question what the darkness is, and she just says that this abstractness. And she described some of the illusions G-Pain did in some of the scenes. It's like it's all so nebulous. It's all so odd. She looks at you. What do you think it is?
And she's talking to me.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, and so I think Squirrel's gonna kind of feign ignorance too, and say like, yeah, it's hard for us to figure out. We're constantly trying to figure out where the darkness is. It's part of our quest, part of our task. To figure it out, we need your help to be able to figure out where this darkness is and to defeat it.
That's what you said before. Yes. So how did you know there was a darkness? How did you detect it? What do you sense? And she gestures with her hands to just like describe what G-Pain was drawing in the sky above Frankko. Is that what you saw from the first world? Did it draw you here?
And so I think at this point, Squirrel's going to bring up the being we met on the riverbank.
Mm-hmm.
So far, that's had no resonance with the townspeople. Is that right?
They seem to have no idea who this person is. Correct?
Yeah. So Squirrel would just say something like, "Look, there are mystical beings on the edges of this town that have told us about it. We're trying to figure it out, just like you." But we believe them. We believe that this is why we're here.
Mm. And she takes that in, and she says, "I mean, I guess I could see that from what the play was saying. I don't know what it is. It's all so ominous, and you seem to not know either." And she's like, "Is it just hanging over us now? Is it looming above us in the sky, waiting to strike? What is it? When is it happening? And how long do we wait?"
Yeah, so Squirrel's mostly gonna shrug. And just as a sidebar, did the guy from the riverbank appear in the play? Was that part of the story?
There was a costumed hare early on. So
Green
sort of.
and uncuttable?
Yes.
Okay, so Squirrel's gonna shrug and just say, "Look, we don't know, but we need to stay together and try to figure this out."
She nods along.
Sorry, I need 1 second, guys.
Sure. I assume he's there alone. I don't know if Frankko or anybody went with him, so I guess...
We can say in the meantime,
Yep.
Maybe Frankko would have gone back with the rest of like the group that he came in on the boat with and just tried to drink with them and like take their temperature a little bit on the play.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, give me a diplomacy check just for general carousing.
Sure.
Yeah. So...
I'm trying to think if it's worth blowing a hero. I've got 2. Like, do I blow a hero point on that? How important is this? Probably kind of important. I'm gonna do it. Let's try to do a little bit better than 1. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, much better than a 1. Yeah. So you walk into the kind of the tavern where everybody hangs out, and you basically go around, you buy some drinks, and you're trying to just gauge the temperature of the troop in general and also how they reacted to your play. And the first thing you notice is that when you're going around and talking to people, they seem a bit more friendly to you than they were just yesterday, because I guess the whole thing happened today, right? The whole chasing the elves and everything that all happened today. And again, the town was kind of like riling up against you guys, kind of curious, and all these rumors were floating around. Were you working with the elves? And now it's become clear that you're not. That you seem to have, you've killed a bunch of elves today. You've broken up the guerrilla group, supposedly. You've killed their leader, as far as they know. So you're getting much better reactions in general. And then you start asking about your play, and it's clear that most of the people here, or most of these troops, are simple-minded people that don't appreciate art, and you get the feeling that half of them didn't understand what was going on, and like a quarter of them didn't care at all. They were just kind of just watching to watch. And only a handful of the people seemed to have any sort of understanding what the hell was going on. And none of them know what the darkness is either. This is like the resounding theme, is like there's, you keep bringing this up, and I hear the elves talking about it, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And one of the dwarves, Gunda, says, we're here to do a job. We're occupying the town until we get soldiers come to relieve us, and that's the job. What are we doing here?
So, Frankko will be like, look, we've been here for weeks. We need to give them a distraction. We toss some meat to the wolves, right? And they're buying it. And he starts to get a little bit more in character at that point. And he's like, and can you believe this freaking elf goes and stabs himself in the neck?
What the hell was that? Gunda's like, what the hell was that?
I was just as surprised as you, but clearly they're buying into the darkness if they're willing to kill themselves over it. It's better than all the petty shit that was going on before, isn't it?
Yeah, she nods uncertain, and Wilfred, the dwarf next to her, which is the one that had the elf ear necklace, which is now mysteriously missing after after his friend was murdered for having one. Wilfred laughs and says, well, you think they'll all kill themselves over this darkness? That would be great. That'd make things easy.
As long as it's not us, right?
He grunts. Still a little cocky for someone who had his friend murdered. But yeah, again, you go around the room, and that's kind of the same sort of thing you get for most people. Either they didn't care or didn't understand, and the few people that paid enough attention to understand seem to not fully grasp, like, the leap to, like, what the darkness is and why it's so important, and why an elf would kill himself over it. No one understands. But you walk around, you're carousing, and you're making a good impression on people, and you're explaining yourself. You're basically saying, we're doing this to give them a distraction. Elves like culture, like, this is something for them to latch onto and to be, they're not just sitting here fomenting, rebellion or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, like, basically, Franco's trying to commiserate with them as much as possible and just be like, look, like, none of us know what the fuck the darkness is either. It doesn't matter what the darkness is. All that matters is that it matters to them, and, like, clearly it matters to them. So I think, like, job well done. And he kind of pats himself on the back, right? Like,
yeah. So again, you've convinced a bunch of the people. Like, it's odd. Like, and people keep coming back to the fact that they don't understand what this darkness is, but you've kind of said it doesn't matter. You've made the case that the elves seem to think it's important, and we're giving them something to latch onto and to think about. And some people are agreeing with that, and some people believe this could be a useful tool to kind of cow them or keep them busy. So it is what it is. But the elf killing himself at the end is throwing a lot of people off. They don't understand why he would do that, and look, how serious is this darkness? How serious are they taking it that he's willing to kill himself over it? And it's irksome. Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to ask Priya, Squirrel? You kind of left in the middle.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, and I did want to get a sense of what she thought other people thought, but is she pretty typical? General confusion about the concrete.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, like, again, no one knows what the darkness is, and she says that there are rumors amongst the other elves what the darkness is. Some people do believe that you are the darkness, that the descending of these Loxo Lee, she says, and she uses the word. She doesn't say it derisively. She uses the word, but she like tries to put like italics on it to let you know that, like, people are saying the Loxo Lee are the darkness. They're the storm coming to punish us. And she says she thinks that's what the elf that killed himself might have thought.
Well, he didn't say that, and he was about to kill himself, so I feel like he would have.
That's what some people are murmuring. The way he
Gotcha.
said, if this the darkness be, it implied that we were looking at the darkness at that moment.
I see. Okay, good to know.
But yeah, she's pretty typical. And again, the elves do seem to they've all paid attention. Like, you get the idea talking to her and talking to some other elves around. The elves definitely paid more attention than the other races. They actually watched the play from start to finish, and most of them seem to at least understand the general idea of what you were going for.
All right.
All right. Anybody doing anything else that night? Burning a body, talking to Priya, talking to drunk people. Oh. Okay. So you guys sleep for the night. And the next morning comes. And there's not much to do. There's no mission, there's no job. Everybody just wakes up and the town is the town. The elves, for their part, are mostly just idle and lackadaisical. They're just, again, they're waiting for this to be over. In their minds, you're here to do something, and then you're going to leave. You pretty much do know that you're not planning to leave. You've been vague about it, and Squirrel has said, like, we're here to fight the darkness, and we're going to be here till it's done. And kind of
and to be fair, we don't really know because Opilius isn't really telling us when this is going to end.
Correct.
So it's that part is at least somewhat true.
Correct. Agree. You're not directly lying to them, but you're leaving things vague enough that they are all just like kind of, okay, so like eventually you guys are going to kill whatever the darkness is and leave. And that's kind of where they're at. So most of the people in town, again, this isn't like a bustling village where everybody's doing stuff anyway. This village basically exists to serve passing ships, and when there are no ships, very little happens here. Like, there are farms, and the farms are still being worked. Opilius makes sure that the farmers are still out there, the guards are still doing patrols to make sure nothing funny is going on over there. But, you know, they do want the livestock raised, they do want all the crops to be grown and harvested, so that's still going on. But, like, all the people in town are basically kept in the inn there unless there's something for them to be doing, and very little is getting done in the town. So you wake up and the town is just the town and nothing is going on. You guys have breakfast, you guys talk to some people, you continue, maybe you're taking gauges of the people about the play a little bit more. But most of the day passes, and eventually Opilius calls everybody to the tavern to tell you something. Once everybody is in the tavern, again, except for the guards that are watching the post and keeping the elves in check in the inn, he lets everybody know the thing you just complained about is he has now heard something about. So he has heard from Iris, who is the king's wizard. He says, they used the wind, they whispered in my ear, that within a week and a half, reinforcements shall be coming and we shall be relieved of this burden. And you get the impression that he is totally done occupying this town. He is mentally past this. This is not what he signed up for. He's a conqueror. He's not a run a town afire. He says that reinforcements and colonists should be here within a week and a half, and we should be relieved of our duties shortly after. And he looks around the table trying to assess what everybody thinks about it, and the overwhelming sense you get from all of the other NPCs is they are also done with this shit. They want to be out killing things. And some of them say that a week and a half is far too long. Can they speed it up? But Opilius laughs and says no. So how do you guys feel about that? And do you have anything to say to Opilius?
What's happening after we're relieved?
Are you asking that?
Yeah, great. We get to be done with this town. Squirrel's excited going next. Because if it's another occupation, then I don't know.
It says there's another nut to crack. There's more coastal towns to be taken. He says, we've proven we can do it here with more troops, more backup, and a warship that was mentioned, whatever that is. We should be able to take the next one, and ensure human dominance over the seas, or Voriosian dominance over the seas. And he looks at you and he shares your concern. He says, I'm not one for this occupation either. I enjoy the taking of the town, the sacking of the town. This has been too long for me as well. And he looks over at the dwarves, and the dwarves kind of agree. They commiserate and say, you know, we should be fighting. We should be going out there and fighting this occupation, the guerrilla ambushes. This is not how we do things. You need a stand-up fight, and people are clanking their glasses at the tavern. That's what they want. Anybody saying or doing anything else? No?
Not right now. I think Frankko would have something to say to the goblins after we're
Okay.
not with everybody else, but
Okay. Even doing anything? All right. Well, then, yeah. So basically, some time passes. Some other stuff is said just across the table, but you are free to go off on your own now if you want. You wanted to say something in quiet.
well, I mean, basically, Frankko will be like, you know, we came back here not wanting to stay very long. We can have a long time. We got something coming up next, like maybe they need a scout team to check it out and get the hell out of here for a bit. He kind of especially looks at Squirrel.
So, like a scout team from here, or you want to leave the area altogether?
Yeah, like we can get out of here and scope out wherever we're going next and kind of get some intel.
Yeah, we can ask Opilius, but do we have a ship? Did the ship stay at the dock, or?
You do have a ship that is at the dock, yes.
How long?
How long what?
Until we leave. How long?
A week and a half.
A week and a half.
I can't imagine Opilius giving us the ship and letting us leave. That's going to be a hard sell.
Can we look for fishermen?
Oh, like our own boat? Is that what you're thinking?
No. Fisherman, hair.
Oh, the hair guy again. Have we returned to that spot that we saw him? I thought we did go by there.
We did try that spot, yes.
Yeah, Puck did go there and did not see him. I don't remember if it was before you went on your journey to chase the Wood Elves, or if it was after, but Puck did go there and there was no sign of him. But it wasn't like he was never there, like the fire was there from last time.
Olin thought some connection to Gozreh. If Gozreh is about sacrifice, last night might inspire an appearance.
Oh. Anything to get out of town, squirrel's up for. So, yeah. Can we just tell Opilius, like, we're just gonna go patrol the woods just to keep an eye on any remnants of the Wood Elves?
Yeah, is that what you're telling him?
Yeah, I mean, I assume there are some sort of regular patrols in the woods, so
yeah,
we would just offer to do a duty so that we can go down to the riverbank again, check again.
Yeah, correct. That is.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Patrol. Hunt for food patrol.
You broke up again. I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said there.
We can hunt for food and patrol.
Yes.
Oh, hunt for food. We can fish.
Correct. Yeah, you can do that.
That's basically your job in the caravan. It's like go out with Auric and forage.
Yeah, you could do that. Yep. Okay. So you guys go out to forage. You can make a survival check to see how well you forage. If you like.
Are we fishing?
That's a good question. Are you fishing, or are you looking for game on the way?
Do we have any fishing gear? I don't have any fishing gear.
No,
Frankko does, which is why I'm asking.
if you want, you can go fishing when you get
No,
there.
We should
Yeah.
hang out at the spot, right? I mean, it would make sense to just fish while we're hanging out.
I'm not suggesting we do, I just want to understand what the plan was.
game and edible plants would be even thing. I'm assuming you're not going to find anything.
Yeah, you're not
like
finding much
that.
of anything with a roll like that.
Ugh.
Yeah, those both don't look great, but I'll check.
Okay, so can we fish for a little bit after we don't find any game?
Yeah.
Um,
So you guys are moving through the woods, and you're looking, and Even is having a frustratingly bad time. He's usually quite good at this, and he usually, like, basically he can't walk without, like, tripping over edible mushrooms and things like that. But today is just not his day. Everything he finds is inedible, and he's just kind of traipsing through the forest in such a way that the animals are moving before he can get a jump on them. So it's just not working for him. I'm not sure what an 11 does. I think that might be just enough for yourself for the day, but I'll take a look. But while I'm doing that, you guys will arrive at the riverbank here, where you had met the hare. And you can fish if you want. I think that's also a survival check, I assume, unless you have some other related skill you think would be more better.
I mean, sailing would be the only other one I can imagine, but I think it's a stretch. I can do survival.
Yeah, so squirrel with an 11, you find enough to just feed yourself. So as you're going along, you find enough food for just yourself. Not a whole lot. Frankko fishing, on the other hand.
Jackpot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Octopus?
No strange aquatic creatures in the water. But you do catch fish, and you do feel like maybe this fishing spot is lucky and or somehow blessed, because you cast your rod and you do well. Even you catch enough fish to feed yourself, but Frankko is outpacing you easily.
He has an interesting feat, though.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
You're a foragey kind of person, right? Oh, so when you failed, you would have also found mushrooms anyway, because you're really good apparently. And when you success, you base and 4 additional creatures. Oh, so you are actually beating Frankko.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, you're getting a bunch. You two together are getting a bunch of fish. You're going to be eating well tonight. And you hang out here, and you're basically just chilling, waiting for to see if the hare comes back. And the hare does not. So you're fishing for about an hour, and during that time, it begins to rain. And the hare has not come. How long are you willing to stay in the rain?
I think Squirrel, as soon as it starts raining, just like out of frustration, starts yelling, like, hey, we took the town, we did your things, we tried to deal with the darkness, we got nothing now. So either come help us and talk to us, or we're just leaving town.
Is this you or is this rain?
What?
It even just says that out into the air. Is this you or is this rain?
So we're all just shouting into the into the void.
Even when you say, is this you or is this rain, you hear...
Is the green hair that Puck has pointing anywhere?
No, he is there on the map, so yeah, I guess he is hanging out with you, in case he shows up, because he might be late. So no, he takes it out, and he whips it about, as he is wont to do. And no, it is not. Again, it's a very elegant hair, and it does fall with like this unnatural grace, as if it's not beholden entirely to gravity. but it does not seem to be pointing in any direction, and Puck just shakes his head as he's dangling it around.
Listening. Show me what you want. We'll keep listening. And even will sort of gesture to the gang like that we should move.
They should what?
Or we should move.
Leave. We're done eating. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, if we're going to stand out in the rain.
No. No, that doesn't sound like fun.
Alright, well, you've got more fish than you can eat. I assume you're bringing that back. Doing anything else along the way?
I don't think so.
Is it just raining over us, or is it like raining everywhere we can see?
Everywhere you can see.
Okay.
It's not like
Can we
you
do
don't
an
have individual
Arcana
clouds.
check on rain? Is that a thing?
None of us can.
What is your
Wait, doesn't
question?
Puck have detect magic or something?
He does. He
Can you
can.
read weather?
I don't think he can read
Well-
weather unless that's part of survival somehow.
I don't know.
Survival or nature might get you something there, but it's not going to tell you if it's magical rain. I don't think. I don't even think it is magical rain if it was. But anyway.
No,
Yeah.
more that should it have been raining like a forecast kind of thing. But
Oh. See if that's survival or nature. Those they seem so closely related in my head. I don't know what falls into survival and falls into nature. So let's check it out. Environments, weather. Yeah. So I think it's nature. So you can make a nature check to see if you thought it would be raining. If it makes sense for it to be raining right now. Take one for Puck. So yeah, both Squirrel and Puck, you didn't see any indication that it would be raining. There was barely any clouds in the sky, and now there certainly are, and you can't recall seeing them building up.
I mean, even if it's magical rain, even if we're convinced, what are we supposed to do, right?
Well, so Frankko would pipe up and say, well, the elf, before he killed himself in his home, said that Gozreh responds best to action. Maybe we should just take this for a bit and see if that convinces her that we're willing to listen.
okay.
Fish are biting today. We can just keep going until she's
fishing.
ready.
Yeah, okay.
Better than being in that godforsaken town.
Alright. So you guys can toss me another survival check to fish for another couple hours. See if you catch anything more. Apparently, Even always catches fish. Even when he critically fails, he still catches some fish.
Even the catfisher, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think while they're fishing, oh my, while they're fishing, Squirrel will just kind of keep watch, just looking for anything unusual.
Mm-hmm. Alright. So Even catches a little fish, and Frankko also catches a little fish. Not a lot like last time, but enough. And again, you're spending hours doing this and only getting a couple of fish. And you continue to wait. You are becoming drenched. There's no cover here, and you're just taking it in the rain. And Squirrel, you're looking around. Are you just like patrolling and scouting, or are you doing anything interesting?
I think I'm looking for anything. Like I'm using the spyglass to look in the distance. I'm looking at close thing to see if like fish are moving funny. I don't know. Just anything.
The fish are not moving funny to your estimations, and you're looking around, and you just see a serene forest. You don't see anything acting weirdly. You don't see anybody moving around. And you don't see any green-haired mystical beings appearing to talk to you. And Frankko and even you catch some fish, and 2 more hours pass, and nothing has changed. It is still just pouring rain on you.
Not fishing anymore, just waiting. I'm just taking it.
Are we able to start a fire in his little fire pit, or is it just too rainy?
It's pretty rainy. You'd have to go find some dry wood. You'd have to look under trees and see if you could find any dry wood, but it is rainy enough that you would have concerns about building a fire. You'd have to make a very good survival check to build a water-resistant fire in this water.
Have we just been eating the fish raw, or did we cook it before the rain started?
Are you eating them? I thought you were just catching them. Have you been eating them?
Oh, I thought we were eating too.
Ethan was probably going to eat, and when he calls out into the distance and thunder ominously goes off, he's like, I'm not eating.
Well, so Frankko, game for your suggestion, even. He'll put away his fishing rod, put his weapons down, and just kind of sit there, maybe writing in a book or something.
Puck would do something similar. He'll get on the rock, and he will try to meditate on everything. And, what are you doing, Even?
Even makes a point of saying that it's boring, stay boring, take it. Or he's just going to sit and do nothing.
I think Squirrel will scout around, just being too antsy to sit still. So he'll just check the surrounding areas, cross the bridge, go where they first saw him.
Yeah, we'll do that. Cross the bridge. And, yeah, you keep walking, patrolling. And you can toss me a perception check to see if you notice anything. Everybody else is kind of just vegging out. Yep. So you walk around, and you don't see anything odd. You walk around, you see, there's some in the muddier areas. You do see like footprints where people have walked back and forth between this, but that's not unexpected. People go to and from the docks every once in a while, and this is like a patrolled area, so that doesn't really surprise or scare you. You can't make out if they're elf or human footprints. They're pretty much the same thing. But yeah, you don't see anything untoward or anything happening up there. And you walk around for a while, they meditate for a while, and still nothing happens. It's just raining on you. There's no more thunder. It's just a hard, long rain.
What time of day is it now?
Late afternoon, I guess. You've been doing this for, I don't know how many hours I said out loud, but I'm guessing like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, so getting close enough to when it's going to start actually getting dark, basically.
Yeah, soon enough. If you do this for a couple more hours,
Okay.
it'll be dark, yeah.
Yeah. So Frankko was just about to stand up and kind of like suggest going back, but hearing that Even is still interested in staying longer, he'll kind of stop himself from standing and just sit back down and shrug and yeah, I'll stick it out. Sure.
All right. Squirrel, you're okay?
Yeah, I think if Squirrel feels like he's checked out everything he was going to check out, he'd probably try to hole up somewhere in the nook of a tree or something to try to stay dry.
Okay. Puck can show you a nice crevasse. He's very good at finding
Right.
them. Yeah, so you're gonna do your best to stay dry, getting under some tree cover in a nook like that. And you guys are just gonna hang out till the sun sets and just wait some more?
No, better than being in town.
Why is that? What do you have against this town? It's a wonderful school.
Yeah, what's wrong
things are
with the
going
town?
great. Opilius is mad at us. The elves are mad at us.
Yeah,
The elves
culture
love
might
you.
not
They
have
love your
anymore.
play. It's great.
Yeah. I'm sure no one holds it against us that one of them committed suicide.
No, that guy it was his own thing. Frankko said it was his own thing.
So after a while, I guess, just to kind of like keep himself from getting too antsy, Frankko will go over closer to Puck and let Puck clean up his hair or braid it or do something, whatever he's like. Just don't do too much, but
He takes out the shears and clips them. Like click, 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 click.
just we've been out here for a while. Just spruce it up a little bit. I still need to look good on stage.
And I assume he eagerly does so. I don't want to roleplay too much for people who aren't here. But I assume Puck is eager to cut and or style your hair. So he will do it. And yeah, the sun goes down, you stay a bit longer, and it becomes actually dark out. But you guys have dark vision, because goblins have dark vision, so that's not really a huge problem for you. But the river keeps rushing, and nothing changes. No one descends from the skies to talk to you. And there's no whispers in the wind, nothing like that. There's only that one clap of thunder. It's just this constant drenching rain.
Gozreh is a storm god. Are storms good or bad? All right,
Not
head
the
back.
religious type. Yeah. So once Even suggests heading back, Frankko will stand up and kind of shake his, newly, freshly cut haircut to get some of the water out. Shake out, try to like wring out his clothes a little bit, and gets ready to go.
Alright. Squirrel, do anything else?
No, I think Squirrel's pretty checked out at this point. He's totally resigned. He was always suspicious of magic, but
Alright. You guys are gonna head back to the town? Okay. And there's the town. It's still raining the entire time you get to town. It's raining in town. It's not like, again, you don't have like clouds over just your head or anything like that. You get to town and it's raining, and pretty much everybody is inside except for the guards at the palisades that have been erected. I didn't draw any on the map, but just imagine that throughout the town, in all the choke points, there are now like wooden palisades and kind of makeshift guard stations. One of the things Opilius has done while occupying this town is build defensive structures like that. You guys want to do or say anything to any of the guards or find anybody in town?
Just probably bring the fish somewhere where it can get cooked.
Yeah, you can go to the tavern or the inn is kind of where most of that happens. This building or this building. But yeah, provide the fish, and people are there to cook it. Again, it was odd in the beginning that the elves were doing a lot of the cooking, because they just, like, they run the establishments, and in the beginning people were kind of wary about it, and they've since become okay with it. Like, they watched closely what the elves were doing, and they've been doing it for so long now that people aren't as worried about it. So you're giving the fish to the elves to cook? Or are you cooking?
Yeah, whoever's cooking. Or the elves, whoever.
Okay. That's fine. So you hand it over, and they will scale and cook your fish. And again, you had a good deal of them. So again, apparently, Even always catches fish, and he didn't crit though. So right on a success though. So yeah, so he did succeed twice. Oh, on a success, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so Even has a crap ton of fish. Frankko has a respectable amount of fish, but Even just like is overflowing in fish apparently. And you only have one rank. You're only trained in survival, right? Because it does say that if like you're an expert, you have even more fish.
Right, just trained as far as I know.
Okay. But eventually, you're just going to be like inundated with fish.
All the fish.
Yeah, all fish. More fish than man at that point. Okay, so you drop off the fish, and they're happy to cook them up, and people are very happy to have some variety in the meal. You also wrote up some stuff on Discord about how Auric is going, and like he hunted a stag or something. So like again, there's more variety in the meat now between your foraging and his foraging. That's all good. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Anything happen in town? So, even will just ask the guards, ask people that he knows if anything has happened today.
The guard shakes his head and says, once it started raining, everything pretty much shut down. He's like, I'd be inside if they could be. I haven't heard anything since.
And can we talk to the priest?
Yeah. What would you like to say to the
And
priest?
Even basically wants to know if a storm's a good sign or a bad sign from Gozreh.
He looks at you and says, a storm? He says that's usually indicative of his anger with lightning and thunder, but he gestures to the rain right now. A gentle rain like this isn't saying much. Why do you ask?
I spoke in thunder.
What did you say?
What did I say? I don't remember now.
There's something like, is that you, or is it just rain, right?
I think that
Yeah,
that sounds right, yes.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. I couldn't remember to save my life. Yeah, baby brain. So, yeah, even will basically relay through a translator that he asked if the rain is, if it's just raining or if this is, Gozreh or the Fisherman or whoever.
The priest ponders a moment and says, that's unclear. Thunder and lightning are signs of her anger, but he could have just been responding to you.
He or she?
He says, if it was the sky, then he.
And the land is she?
The sea is she.
The sea is she. Okay. That's it. Gathering info.
Okay. He nods. And you guys get back to the tavern where the rest of the troops are, and you just ask around real quickly. I'll just kind of hand wave it. You ask around, and the other people who did patrols, most of them came back early when it started raining. They didn't want to be out in the rain like you guys. But they do mention that none of them had seen any wood elves at all today. It was basically they were at the point where they were getting ambushed seemingly every other day, and now they're still kind of expecting that. And you claimed you've broken the resistance, the rebellion, whatever you want to call it. And at least today, in the half day or so that they were out before it started raining, no one seemed to spot any wood elves at all. And you guys want to do anything else? So yeah, so the night will pass without incident, and I basically want to just jump those 1.5 weeks because I don't want you looking for something to do every day that I don't have something prepared for. I don't want to. Yeah, I feel bad that scene went the way it did. And I just want to jump ahead.
No worries, dude.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, okay. So yeah, so you guys are gonna be just kind of going on patrols and running through the motions for the next 1.5 weeks. And though that time will pass without incident. So basically, you guys are still doing patrols in the town and the nearby farmland, and also shallowly into the surrounding forests. And maybe you guys go a bit deeper because you're more comfortable doing that. But during all that time, there are no ambushes, no reported sightings of wood elves at all. So even over the next 1.5 weeks, where people are still expecting, like every couple days, that the wood elves are going to come out and jump us here, jump us there, maybe even attack the city. They don't see any at all. Either they're hiding really well, or they've just left. All of the elves in town are still docile and reluctant to do much of anything. As I said before, Opilius is still ensuring that they're doing, the basic farming tasks and things like that. But the ones that are being quartered at that inn are just waiting. And one of them, it was Priya. Priya comes up to you, Squirrel. And oh, that doesn't happen yet. No. So Priya just wants to talk to you about what's going on, and she kind of inquires of what you found out about the darkness after the 1.5 weeks is up. So, have you learned anything new? Has it become more clear to you?
And so Squirrel's gonna try to, seed them leaving a little bit in the conversation and say, no. And in fact, we've searched far and wide for more signs. We may have to go even farther away in order to find more darkness, find out more about the darkness.
How far away?
And I will try to be honest here, but what is this mile? The next town's miles away? Is that?
Well, the next town marching is south. It's inland, and it was estimated 3 weeks marching.
But is that where we're going next, or
no? You're going across the coast. Yeah.
So I'll say by sea then. We have to go so far that we'll have to leave on a ship, because that may be the extent of Squirrel's knowledge.
No. Oh, so you'll be leaving then? The darkness system has moved?
Well, we have to find out more. It may still be here, but we don't know how to combat it without searching farther and wider.
I see. Okay, thank you. And she looks back at the others at the inn that she was questioning you at. She says, "We just want to go home. We want it all to be over. We want the darkness to end."
We do too. We just don't know how and when.
Okay, and she looks a little despondent, but is mostly happy with your answer. That maybe one day she'll get to go home.
We should have set up when somebody can cast illusions, right? We should have set up a guerrilla art here where the darkness appears to rise up from somewhere.
And then you beat it back.
Yeah, we did it. But then somehow the darkness would tell, you must go further to find me.
Well, if you recall, so in the play, Frankko did have him and the elf on a boat, washing up on a mysterious island where then darkness type things were happening, right? So it purposely wasn't here.
Great. Yeah. Squirrel definitely went on to use that imagery, yes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so again, Priya is accepting of what you said. All the vagueness is important, but she seems happy with what's going on. Mostly happy. And then during that 1.5 weeks, like I said, Opilius has overseen the construction of palisades and other various defensive structures. And most notably, under his command, that large crane at the docks with the water-powered mechanics that could move it was converted into a trebuchet, which can now like rotate and aim at things at sea.
Handy.
Yeah, pretty smart guy sometimes, that guy. Because you stop the rain noise. So yeah, you guys passed that week and a half, and finally, early one morning, you hear the sound of a large bell ringing from the north, which you came from, towards that watchtower that leads to the docks. It is the early morning, and the town is abuzz with the clanging of the bell, and what would you guys like to do?
So is Opilius still in town, or did he go to the docks?
He is getting ready to leave. You can tell that he's basically getting his stuff on, he's getting his armor on, and going to go towards the docks when he can.
So I think Squirrel would go up to Opilius and ask, like, all right, is it time to head out?
He nods. We need to welcome these people, and we need to get our orders and follow them, and we'll be out of here within a couple of days, maybe. We'll have to see what they say, what the new governor says.
Do you want us to scout ahead to the dock to go meet them?
He nods. Sure. The road should be safe, right? He looks at you and then look at the guards next to him. We patrol that regularly. It should be fairly safe, yes?
Let's do it.
He nods and is happy to let you go ahead of him. So he's still getting ready and building up his entourage to head down. So you, the goblins, sneak up ahead. And are you walking straight down the road, or are you sneaking on the forest?
Squirrel's always wary, so he's definitely moving stealthily. Seems too easy.
Okay. Too easy. You head down to the watchtower area. You're going through the woods. Everybody toss me a stealth check. I assume you're all going. You can toss me a stealth check. Those are fantastic, yeah.
Nice.
So you are sneaking through the woods very well, and you get towards where the watchtower is, and everybody toss me also a perception check too. So you're being sneaky and you're looking around, and Squirrel, you have like a +1 from your spyglass doohickey.
Oh, okay. So call it 15.
Yep. So yeah, and do you get a perception bonus in the woods with your tree dweller thing?
No.
Okay, got it. That's survival.
No, it's just for survival and stealth.
Okay. So your stealth is even better than that too. Okay. Yeah. So you.
No, I got the stealth in.
Ah,
I put the
okay.
tree dweller in.
Got it. Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, you guys are moving well through the woods and looking around pretty good. And yeah, so you're moving through and you're not seeing anything. You don't see any wood elf ambushes or anything like that. You take special care around the watchtower. You spend a little bit there. You spend a couple of minutes looking around and moving through the woods, going deeper into the woods further away, kind of just assessing to make sure that there's no ambushes in place. And then you head back down towards the docks. And similarly, you don't see any elves lying in wait. Elves have been banished from the docks for the entirety of the occupation. They weren't allowed to walk down this road or be at the docks, so none are just kind of hanging out there. And you don't see any in the woods along the way, and as you get there, you kind of look over the dock, and it's quiet. There's been a couple guards stationed here, but it's not like a functioning dock at this point because no boats have been coming. But you do see, as you pass the watchtower, there are a couple guards there that were ringing the bell, and you get to the docks, and there are a couple people there ringing the bell. And I actually have the dock map, don't I? Yeah, I can load that one up for you. You can take a look at the docks if you want. So like I said before, that the big crane has kind of been transformed into a trebuchet. I don't have art for it. But basically, they had this nice machine, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you can actually see the cogs and machinery that use this water wheel to power that. And if you flip the right switch, you can rotate that thing. And they repurposed that to be a weapon to launch rocks at sea. Because these stupid elves don't know how to defend themselves, but humans sure do. And you guys get here, and you're approaching from the north. I know you're kind of on the docks because that's just where you were last time we were here. So yeah, you guys are approaching, and you don't see anything odd. There's a couple of guards here. I don't have them on the map, but there are a couple of your people's guards on the dock. One was ringing the bell, and one waves to you as you're coming in. And it is as easy as you think it is. As easy as you are wary of it being. And you get to the docks, and nothing has happened to you.
So is there a new ship there or not?
It is in the distance, yes. It's not there yet, but you see it approaching. It is on the way.
Okay, and is there anything... does your sailing check help you identify if that's one of our ships? Frankko? Frankko, don't you have some sort of...
Sailing lore, yeah.
Sailing lore?
Yeah, you're very certain that this is a ship of Voros. And you,
okay.
like, the ship that you had no bearing or no, like, standard or anything like that. It was just white sails. This one very proudly has the flag of the Empire, or the Kingdom, on the sails. And you can definitely tell it's them. It's a human ship, and it is at least twice as big as the ship you came in on. All right. And let's pause here for a bio break if anybody needs it. We can be right back. Okay. I have to fix that. Alright. Wonderful. Alright. So we're back. And like I said, you guys have gotten there early. The ship is still at sea. It's coming. It'll be a little bit before it arrives. But based on Frankko's sailing lore, he is estimating at that distance that this ship is probably twice as big as the one you came in on. And we can go with the dock music. Even though this was kind of for a fight, I kind of like it. Where was it? Coastal Raid. Let's go with this. Why not? It's an old throwback to the first session. So you guys are there and you're waiting, and the ship is coming in, and about 10-15 minutes later, Opilius and his entourage and a bunch of other people from town are coming. Again, elves are not allowed here, so no elves are coming, but Opilius and his crew are here, and anybody who's not on guard duty is coming to look and watch. And that includes all the people you know. Opilius, Auric, Tana the Birdkeeper, Lynn, they're all here. They all want to see what's going on. They're all excited to see the new people. And after a while, the boat docks. And again, it is twice as large as the one you came in on, and as the ship docks and the wooden ramps are lowered down, you see a bunch of people begin coming off, and in the front of them is a man in a shining breastplate who is flanked by guards on either side, and he is walking, and Opilius raises his arm to both identify himself and greet this man, and he walks over towards Opilius. And you can give me a society check or a history check or any lore you think would be relevant to try to identify who this person is. Ooh, yes, that's a good one. Good
I don't know if it makes sense.
Oh, that's a good one.
It.
Yeah, that works. Anybody else have any... Even, you got any skills you want to use? No? Okay.
Nope.
So, Frankko, you're certain that this is Geo Magifalcus, which is... Oh, okay. You are also very certain, even, that this is Geo Magifalcus, which is another, not a general, but kind of a lieutenant in the king's armies, and he is he's not as much of a conqueror as Opilius is, but he's kind of a renowned warrior in the kingdom. And he is coming now with a large army behind him. So you're watching as the people are filing off the boat. It appears to be that almost half and half so far between colonists and soldiers. And it's a very large boat. So Geo walks over, flanked by two heavily armored guards, and marches directly to Opilius. The two salute each other and embrace forearms, almost technically and robotically, as if this is something they are supposed to do, before Geo breaks his countenance and kind of smiles warmly, and they begin to act like old friends. And you can't hear what they're saying, but they exchange a few words and are talking to each other, before Geo raises Opilius' arm and turns to the boat and everybody who's coming off. And he introduces Opilius as Opilius, the great subjugator, conqueror of the north, and declares that he and his troops here have struck the first blow against the elven empire. We will follow in his footsteps and hold the land that he has taken. And Opilius, he's not blushing, but he drops his head for a moment as if this is embarrassing him. He doesn't he doesn't like all these titles and things like that. So he turns back to Opilius and says, General Opilius, I hereby and formally relieve you of command of the garrison of the town of Thaeth. And Opilius sighs heavily as if this is a weight off his shoulders. And the Geo declares that he will now serve as governor of the town and hands Opilius a wax-sealed letter. Gestures for him to follow. He gestures north, and he says, let's go. So basically his entourage and him are going to be heading towards the town. and he instructs anybody on the dock, including you guys, to help offload the boat if you can. How do you feel about that?
Like basically bringing this stuff into town for them? Is that the deal?
Yes, like there are people are leaving the boat and they're bringing some of their gear, but you can tell the boat is laden with more than the individuals can carry in like one trip. So basically, either bring it to town or at the very least get it off the boat onto the docks. Are you people schleppers or are you not schleppers?
I feel like we're the elite strike force. We don't schlep, right?
So unless somebody stops him, even would mechanically just go to start unloading the boat.
Is anybody stopping him?
No.
Is anybody else doing anything? Like any of the presumably the rest of the crew we came there with is also here at the dock.
Yes,
right?
and they seem to be agreeing with Squirrel's attitude. So Auric is not schlepping shit for these people. Lynn is a gnome and an herbalist. She's not schlepping shit, mostly because she's a gnome, but she's also just not schlepping shit. So yeah, the attitude of most of the people is that this guy was very dismissive of you, and they don't like the way that they were just kind of treated as Opilius' elite strike force, as Squirrel was saying. They shouldn't even have asked this. So no one's moving except for Even, who kind of just like a dog jumps to the command.
So Frankko will go over to Squirrel, who we can tell is particularly put off by this, throw his arm around him and say, look, the faster we get these guys off this boat and into that town, the faster we get on a boat and out. So I'm going to go help.
All right. Squirrel shrugs and follows along reluctantly.
Okay. So a lot of people are coming off of the boat, and you see, like, it's also like a traditionally like mixed group, just like your other one that you came in on, where it's majority human, but there are a mix of everything. There are dwarves and gnomes and everything like that. And among them, you see only a handful of goblins. There is 3 that you see, and the first one you see is a male wearing a fedora and a long coat. So you bump into a goblin walking down the ramp as you were walking up to help schlep boxes. And hi, Brendan.
Greetings.
Hey, welcome.
So who's who's coming by me?
The entire party has been convinced somehow to schlep boxes off of this boat, and they bumping into you. So again, they didn't see a whole lot of goblins coming off of this boat, and the first one they see is Dax.
Yes.
So how does Dax react to seeing goblins walking up the ramp?
You mean goblins, actual goblins? You mean not these humans and everybody else? I mean,
Yes, actual
so
goblins.
I'll put a smile on my face, and as whoever passes by first gets the. I'm so glad to see a happy face, friendly faces finally. Are you helping to unload?
Even just nods and doesn't smile back and just goes to continue unloading boxes.
I'll happily. Well, where do they want the boxes at? Have they pointed out a direction yet for us?
He just shrugs.
Yeah,
I'll find some.
They didn't really describe it. Basically, I guess you just move them onto the docks at least, and then other people kind of like will move them, kind of like a human chain. Get them off the boat, and then someone will take them from there up a little bit more, and then once they get them on there, look at some wagons. So yeah, just basically dump them around here.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
I'll drop it off and back onto the boat to grab some more.
yeah, and while we're doing this, Squirrel's trying to keep an eye on if there's anything valuable that maybe somebody wouldn't miss. I don't know if we can tell the contents of the boxes.
Are you opening them, or are you just looking for labels?
Can I pry and look in? Yeah, is there some loose corners here and there?
Yeah, I'd imagine there's some of that. Why don't you give me do you have a thievery? Is that a skill Squirrel has?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, give me a thievery check.
There we go.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Are you looking for anything in particular?
I mean, generally speaking, Squirrel's just looking for interesting, valuable items, be they weapons or potions or something that looks magical. Anything
yeah.
that's like treasure-like.
Well, you definitely find like weapons. Like they are plainly labeled in terms of what things are inside. There aren't any magical weapons, but there's lots of mundane weapons if you're looking for anything in particular.
Yeah, I don't think so. Squirrel loves his crossbow, isn't looking to replace it, so I guess he'll just keep his eye out for other things.
And let me just roll something. Yeah, you do find a small box that is not labeled, but you pry it open, you jimmy it just a little bit, and you do find a box of healing potions.
Hey. So Squirrel's gonna try to take a few out and then keep and then close the box up again, so it still contains some of what is expected in the box.
Fair enough. How many are you willing to steal? You find
how many are in the box?
There are 6 in the box.
All right, I'll take half of them.
Okay, so Squirrel takes 3 potions. All right, and I'll drag them onto your. Or do you have them on this sheet already? Because you can just increase the number.
I just do the quantity. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, if you already have it, you can just do ++. If you don't, I can give you one. I don't think you have one.
No, I think I used mine,
Okay.
so I don't.
I'll do that
have
real
it.
quick. But while I'm doing that,
Okay.
you guys can continue to talk or whatever else you want to do.
Does Dax have a chance by chance of seeing him look into the boxes?
Give me a perception check. And
Squirrel is trying to hide this. From people,
yes, of course.
So yeah, he would have to beat whatever I should be rolling. I don't know if it's rolled into
they
thievery.
do passive stealth now, basically. So like your stealth
Okay.
DC, but since it's player versus player, I guess I'd let you roll it just for fun.
I'll have you roll it. I can't actually do the rolling, but
okay. So
It's-
you can join the VTT now. Let me link you that.
Might help.
Apologies.
I can give you the numbers, but either way you want to do it.
Yeah, I made you a token and everything, so I'll roll it
Oh.
for you. I think I did everything right, but I'll roll it. You have a your
Perception is
perception
6-ish.
Let's see. Yeah, 6-ish. You rolled a 14. So go ahead and roll a stealth check, Squirrel. So I would like to do that. Yeah, so you don't see him doing it. No, he's being very sneaky, and you do not see him.
Ah, okay.
And in the meantime, I will get you the link to the VTT. I forgot that part. little important.
Nah, not that much.
It's fine. VTT. All right. And I gave you your password and everything, so you should be able to join now. Apologies for that. And yeah, so Mendax, aka Dax, is loading and unloading with you guys, and he does not see Squirrel steal those potions. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, I mean, at least for Frankko, he's just trying to be quick about it.
All right.
He's using it as a chance to work out a little bit. So makes a point to grab multiple boxes when he can, dumps them quickly, runs back on. Just really hauling ass as much as he can.
All right. And Even is just schlepping like a dog, back and
Yeah,
forth, back and
pretty
forth. All right. All right. And Dax, are you doing anything else since you weren't able to see them?
I will continue as I pass by each of them. I will send a greeting to each goblin as I pass by and see if I get any reaction from them. As a desperate person who hasn't talked to a goblin in weeks, you have no idea what I've had to go through to get here.
Frankko will give him, some recognition and certainly would say like, "Hey, I like the hat. At least Goblin knows his style."
Well, thank you. So where are the crystal domes and like all the golden, the arches and everything, and like where are the elves? I see the elven lands, right? Aren't they supposed to be like the epitome of the center of the world where the greatest people are? I mean, this looks like a jungle. This is
Pretty much
elven.
is.
We are in the elven lands, right? Is this the elven lands?
I mean, this is a raggedy town that helps with the dock here. It is, as you described, mostly jungles and forests. We spend a lot of time just, around a small town and in nature.
I guess. Yeah, I always thought they told us, the elves are like the sophisticated people. They have these great societies. They are, literature, and they put on, great plays, and they're into their entertainment. This doesn't look what I expected. I expect to see golden cities and elves dressed in their finery walking around, but this is not what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, I was told that they were all about their art too, and I showed up here and we put on a show, but we were the only and he kind of points to him and gestures over to G Payne. We were the only ones who brought it, so I don't know. Their dancer was fumbling the whole time.
And Squirrel would pipe in, "Yeah, we killed it."
I don't know what I was expecting, but the jungle is not what I expected when we got here. I've always been told the elvens are far more advanced than we are. They're the civilization that we strive to be. And this looks like some of the things I've seen back home, just on a smaller version.
Yeah, it's been a disappointment. We're happy to be getting out of here.
Oh, you guys are heading out?
That's our understanding, yeah.
Oh, good. How do I get? What are you going to do to get out of here? I mean, I need to talk. Who do I need to talk to? I kind of got drafted, quite prepared for to join the military, but it seems I'm here now. So, well, if I could join up with you, that would certainly work out better in my favor.
Yeah, I don't know. Just tell them you're better on a boat than on land.
Yeah, I convinced them I'm the navigator. So, and
that'll probably work.
Yeah, all right. I will. I'll find the right people to talk to and convince them of my skills.
All right. And while you're talking, you're schlepping, you're moving boxes, you're talking. You overhear some of the other soldiers and other people that are schlepping boxes. Some of them are talking about Opilius, and they seem astonished that they've even seen him. Like that it is an honor to even see this legendary general that people talk about, that books are written about, and they're super excited to meet him. And as they begin talking, they begin telling like the same stories you've heard 1,000 times at this point of all of his great conquests in the north. And this is all stuff that is, more than a month old. Basically, they don't know anything about what happened here in Thaeth, but they're, talking about the stories like, yeah, we heard that one already, and like, did you hear about what he did with the gnomes over here? And like, it's going back and forth. Are you guys jumping in, or you want to do anything about it?
Well, let me tell you what Opilius and his goblin commandos were able to do here.
Goblin commandos, one of them says with a snarky laugh.
Yeah, so Frankko will kind of put out a teaser and say, we were the first ones off the boat, and pretty much just ravaged the dockhands that were here. Things got a little bit more interesting and dicey in the town. They had these wood elf patrols. That's something you all as occupants are going to want to watch out for. Although I think we and he kind of again gestures to the goblins. We made sure to disperse them when others struggled a bit more. So it should be okay for you now. But yeah, Opilius chose well, and we were able to do some pretty good work here over the past few weeks.
Yeah, and so you lay that out, and they were joking and laughing about the idea of goblin commandos, but you're completely seriously laying out exactly what went down, and they seem intrigued and curious, and they start asking you more questions, and it goes back and forth for a while, and you seem to be convincing them that this has actually happened, and you guys are the crack teams. Like, so you served with Opilius, you fought alongside Opilius?
Wasn't really alongside so much as for, but yeah, we all made it work, and then so as they're sort of going on, Frankko will go further to say, Opilius also enlisted us to help keep the elves in order once we were occupying their town. And so you'll maybe want to lean into this idea of darkness.
What do you mean?
We still have to figure that out ourselves. I think it can mean to you what you want it to mean. But what they think it means is that we are here to work with them to cast it off.
And they, like, one of the guys seems to not know what you're talking about. He's like, are they, like, superstitious about the dark or something?
Many of them are of deep faith, and that can be leveraged to keep them under control.
Okay, one of them nods along as if that's making more sense. So yeah, they accept that. And you talk to a couple different people because you're passing multiple people as you're going back and forth, and you kind of interject, and you're stirring the pot a little and playing up your own deeds. You're definitely calling attention to the Goblin commandos and telling your stories as only you can, and you're impressing lots of people. And in one of the instances where you mention like, oh yeah, the Wood Elves, as occupiers, you're gonna want to know that. The guy corrects you and says, no, I came here specifically to join up with Opilius. I'm here reinforcements for that troop, and then he pieces it together that you're part of that troop, and he's like, well, I'm excited to work with you, and you're standing in front of a human who is going to be replenishing some of the dead people.
Yeah, it's always nice to get some more reinforcements.
He asks you any advice you have when talking with Opilius, anything I should do to impress him, anything I should avoid when I first meet him?
You might want to ask that guy, and he kind of, gestures over to Squirrel. He was the one who seemed to get through to Opilius the most. Opilius and I accomplished our goals together without necessarily seeing eye to eye, it seems.
He accepts that, and he goes over to you, Squirrel. And again, I'm not sure how much of that you caught when you were away, but basically this is a replenishment troop for Opilius' squad, and he was asking Frankko, is there anything he should say or not say, anything he should do special when meeting Opilius for the first time to kind of impress him?
Yeah, and the Squirrel, feeling mischievous, says, actually, he's big into plays about the darkness. So I'd really encourage you to come up with something original and offer to put it on. And I think he would eat that up.
Okay, give me a deception check or whatever the bluff-related skill is in that. Cheeky little goblin. Yeah, he's not that wise. So he seems confused, but yeah, okay, sure. I'll look into that. Frankko was mentioning something about the darkness, so yeah. He said I'll give it a shot, see what I can do. And yeah. Hey, Chris.
Hey, everybody.
Hey now.
I'm super late, but
All good.
Sticking my face in and seeing what's happening.
Hey now. Yeah, so the boat just arrived. So another week and a half has passed, and a boat full of reinforcements and your relief is arrived. And you've also met Dax, aka Mendax, one of the new goblins from the boat, played by Brendan. And that's pretty much where we're at. And a bunch of troops were just talking to the goblins, and that's pretty much it. So, gotta turn off that music now. So, yeah. So you guys were stirring the pot. So, Frankko, you did most of the talking. So go ahead and give me a diplomacy check to see how well you talk to the people on the ship as you're just kind of passing. You did very much. You did a great job, kind of playing up your achievements and making you guys out to be like, maybe not like the heroes of the town, but definitely like key players in the occupation and the conquering of the town. And you did a very good job of highlighting all the things you did without kind of insulting Opilius or anything like that. So that went really well. And as you're talking about it, like again, people see Opilius as like this legendary figure, and they're really excited to kind of be able to join up with him or to at least like follow in his footsteps. So some people are here explicitly to join the troop, and some people are here to occupy the town. But even some of the people who were just sent here to guard the town are thinking about joining or trying to join up with Opilius based on what you've been saying. So you unload your boxes, and you feel like you've done enough of the work. And there are still people unloading more boxes, but they're loading up a new cart, and you believe that it's like, you've done enough. You can kind of go back to town if you want.
Let's go.
All right. You head back to the town of Thaeth, and I'll put Mendax on this map too. Wow. And when you get back to the town, it already seems like it's bustling with activity compared to what it was yesterday and the weeks prior. Again, the elves are kind of just idly sitting around waiting for something to happen, for you guys to do something or you guys to leave. But the new humans that are here and the dwarves and everybody else that came with them, they're kind of just milling about town, unloading boxes, moving carts and wagons all over the place. And based on the numbers you've seen, it appears as though half of that boat, like fully half of them, were soldiers, guards, or mercenaries, and the other half were basically colonists and craftsmen. So there were probably 150 people on the boat. So there are like 75 troops and 75 colonists coming off of this boat. And that effectively doubles the population of this town. This was like a 200 person town, blah, and you've added 150 more people. So now you've effectively doubled the town. It's not a very large town to begin with. A lot of the people kind of lived in like the rural farmlands around the place. So it's bustling, and people aren't sure exactly where they're going to fit everybody. All of the elves are again interred in this little inn over there, and there's another inn. I forget where. That was the stables. I forget where it was. I think I said it was up here in the top right of the map. There's another inn over there, but it's kind of like the less nicer one. It's further out of town and things like that. So people are kind of doubling and tripling up in that space. But as that begins filling up, they basically just begin moving into the buildings, like setting up shop over in like the carpenter shop, like the carpenter's workshop. They just start setting up like beds in the corner of that room because there's just not enough space. Anybody have any opinions on that or care at all? Just letting them do what they're doing.
I think Frankko would purposely kind of stay towards the edge of the town, just waiting for Opilius and the group to come back. Like, he's assuming that they're getting these people set up and then leaving, and so he's not going back into the town to see how that happens.
Well, he did say a couple days though. So
Oh, okay.
where you're gonna be standing on the edge of town for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the craftsmen amongst the colonists are quick to start investigating the workshops and the smithy and things like that and getting up to speed. And they're making like no attempt to hide the fact that they're here to stay. They're basically checking everything out and assuming that this is all their stuff now. And the elves, for their part, are basically, again, they're all interred in that inn. But you know, they're looking out. They hear the bustle. They are looking out the windows and trying to look out the doors. But the guards are keeping them inside unless they have a reason to leave. But again, like the humans are walking around like they're walking into the alchemist lab, they're walking into the smithy, and you know, looking around, basically figuring out how the settlement is arranged and where they can start doing their stuff. And Squirrel, you see Priya waving at you from one of the windows, trying to coax you to come into the inn and talk to her.
Squirrel pretends not to see her.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Yeah, so the milling continues, and you guys are all just walking around, and Frankko's done a good job kind of talking up the goblins. So the rumors about the goblin commandos are going around, and some among your troop actually corroborate your stories. So again, they didn't like you very much just a week and a half ago, but you guys have definitely proven yourselves time and time again. And Opilius did stand up for you himself. He did say that you're like, you know, pound for pound, you're the best damn troops he's got in the entire, you know, army he's got. So
He didn't say anything about the play?
who didn't say anything about the play?
Opilius.
No, Opilius does not say anything about
Did he like the play?
He did not like the play. You missed that earlier. Opilius did not understand the play, thought it was a huge mistake, and thought it was going to rile up the elves. But in the week and a half since, nothing seems to have happened. He didn't understand why the elf would commit suicide. He thought, like, what was he praying for? Why did he kill himself? What are all the elves going to think about it? And Frankko was like, no, this is smart. This is going to help control them. It's giving them something to focus on, to think about. The darkness is a thing for them. And Opilius didn't understand it, but it seems to have worked. It seems to, at the very least, there haven't been a revolt or a murder.
But he's not giving us credit for it.
Correct. And Opilius, again, that was a week and a half ago. So like he definitely didn't give you any credit or he didn't show any sign of remorse for snapping at you at the end of it. But he was very pissed off at the end of that thing. He assumed there was going to be riots. But the elves seem to appreciate it as art, which is extremely, it's strange. Because the guy killed himself with a hairpin.
That sounds like art.
It's art. Sorry. So that goes on, and it's getting to be the sun is setting, and it's about dinner time. But instead of reporting to the normal place, Opilius asks that you, the goblins, and a bunch of his troops, not all of them, but like basically the upper echelon of the troops. So he's not getting the whole 60 people there, but he invites, you, Auric, and a bunch of other troops amongst the thing. But just kind of the this seems like it's the cream of the crop, and all of you goblins were invited. Mendax, you're not invited, unless did you
Mendax invites himself.
Mendax invites
I just show up. I just randomly show up.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah. You're gonna just look cool. You're gonna
Do we get a +1?
If anybody asks, I say I'll just tell them. No, I was invited. If anybody asks,
you're just a goblin. Yeah. Give me a.
I'm with them.
Yeah, give me a roll though. What are we gonna go with? You want to go with deception? You appear to be very good at deception.
I am. You ready for the next question? How do you do that?
Okay, cool. So click on yourself, right? You see a little token over here?
And
a HUD should pop up, right? At the top or whatever. And you go to skills, and you should be able to click on that stuff. I assume I gave you control. I did all this like 20 minutes before the session started.
Yeah, I know. I didn't give you a whole lot. Sorry, that's my bad too.
It's all good.
All right, your skills. You want me to do a
deception? Yeah.
All right, we'll try that one out.
Yeah. So you managed to talk your way in because again you're just a goblin with the other goblins, and Opilius made it clear that like all the goblins can come because to him you're all just like one strike force, even though you guys have rotated in and out. Like Fumbar has showed up sometimes and G-Pain's been there. Just basically he invited the goblins, like make sure the goblins are there, and Mendax is just walking in and standing next to you.
Basically, that's it. I belong.
And Opilius hasn't paid you any mind. Maybe, I'm not sure if he hasn't seen you or if he's confusing you for one of the other goblins, but he has paid you no mind.
You're saying we all look alike? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that Opilius thinks that. I didn't say anything of the sort. But he has been able to distinguish between the other ones fairly well so far. I think he called Frankko Squirrel once in the beginning, or he mixed up one of them at least once. It's true. But anyway, so you walk into the tavern, and there is a copious amount of elven whiskey and elven wine lined up on the bar. Like, there's no bartenders, the place is empty except for you, but there's just, like, casks and glasses all the way down. And he encourages you all to enjoy yourselves. He says, "Our job here is done. You've all earned this." And he gestures to the bar and encourages you all to have a drink. Does anybody not drink? All right. So after everybody gets a drink, everybody sits around. There's like one big table, but there's not enough for all the people there. So there's one big table and a couple little satellite tables. But you goblins are at the edge of the big table. And he raises his glass of wine, pauses, and sighs, and says, "To all our comrades who didn't make it," and he offers up a toast. Does everybody toast their glasses or do anything different?
No.
All right.
Toast.
Okay, so he takes a somber sip. Everybody takes their sip of wine or whiskey, whatever you chose. And after a moment, Auric proposes another toast. He says, "To the greenhorns out there who don't know what they're getting themselves into," and the tavern bursts into laughter, and everybody takes a drink. You guys have any toasts you'd like to make?
Seems like a theatrical moment, Frankko.
I was thinking about it. So sure, why not? So Frankko will hop up onto his chair, standing there, and say, "To the darkness," with the like with his quotes like this.
So it's tongue in cheek, right?
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah.
okay.
He's yeah.
So
what is Opilius do?
yeah, I think he's gonna groan. I don't think he's gonna be angry because you put the air quotes around it. I think he's going to groan and say, I'll give you that nothing's happened yet. We're keeping a close eye on these elves. I still don't understand what you did or why it's doing what it's doing, but it worries me. Still. And he takes a drink. He accepts your toast. He raises his glass and drinks to the darkness. And again, there's a bunch of like murmuring on the table, but everybody does take the sip. Does anybody have any other toasts? Even. What do you toast to, Even?
Good food, good fortune.
Yeah, there you go. Auric drinks to that. He slams his hand on the table and drinks to that. All the dwarves are down for that. Anybody else? Oh, okay. So he encourages you all to kind of enjoy yourself, and after everybody has at least their second drink in hand, and the dwarves have their fourth because they're drinking faster than you guys, Opilius kind of clears the center of the table, and he unfurls a map before him. It's a vague outline of the northern coast of Nilethir, the Elven Empire, with dots and labels. There are settlements on the coastline. He points to Thaeth, which is the westernmost point. It's basically around where the continent begins to curve and head south. He points to where you are and wordlessly just kind of drags his finger across to the next most, western one. But he drags his finger east to the next port town, which is labeled Melisari. Anybody can make me, and if you have any relevant skills to read maps, or if you have any relevant skills for knowing anything about the Elven Empire, you can roll them and let me know.
That's mostly to figure out how far that
Mm-hmm.
is going to be, but I'm not going to know.
Fair. Anybody else rolling anything? No.
Let's see. We got nothing there.
You're there too, Mendax. You can. Oh, you. Yeah.
Only one of that. That's not terrible.
Mendax's second roll of the campaign, crit fail on a survival check.
I was looking at the map upside down. I was looking left, right. Right was left. So I'm looking at everything backwards.
You're reading.
Kind of got confused for a moment.
Yeah, you guys are not doing so great.
We
Yeah.
we have had too much to drink.
Yeah, you guys are drunk off your first whiskey or wine. Puck, with your society check, you know very little about the Elven Empire, but you've heard Melisari before. You don't know a lot about it, but the fact that you've heard it is interesting to you because you've never heard of Thaeth. This tiny little hamlet on the coast. You've never heard that word before in your life. But Melisari is probably big enough or important enough that it has come up in conversation. Like it's something you've known about. So that is a little concerning to you. And to wit, Opilius says that Melisari is believed to be a proper city. He says there are thousands of elves living there. It will certainly be better defended than this podunk town. And he gestures again across the sea, and he says, it's approximately a 3-week journey. And he says, we will be joined by a boat of the same size as the one that reached Thaeth, filled with soldiers, so roughly 150 soldiers, as well as the kingdom's first warship, whatever that means. And he looks around the table to see if everybody's keeping up or if anybody has any concerns or questions. He nods along and says, we will serve as we have so far as shock troops in the initial invasion and handle special operations as needed. Make no mistake, this shit-ass town here was defended by bumpkins and drunks. The wood elves gave us some trouble, and we should expect at least as much, if not more, from an army of trained elven soldiers with actual leadership. He looks over everybody at the table. He says, we're going to need to be better than we were here. We won't win this one head on. And then he looks to you, the goblins, and he says, we're going to need sneaky, clever strategies to gain an upper hand quickly and use it. And then he turns to Wilfred, which is the dwarf that had the necklace of ears. And he says, and we'll have no more of those gruesome trophies. A handful of twisted bastards almost fucked this whole thing up and got themselves killed. Got others killed too. He sighs again, downing his second glass of wine, and bores his eyes into Wilfred. We are not savages. We will not do that. And if I hear about any of you doing any of that shit, I will slit your throat myself. Am I clear? And Wilfred meekly nods. And Auric, trying to get the pressure off his friend, he shouts affirmatively. Anybody else saying or anything like that?
No, but Squirrel looks around to see how people besides Wilfred, because Wilfred wasn't the only one, right? Do those words seem to be having an impact on the others besides Wilfred?
Almost all of the other people who did gross things were murdered. Wilfred is, I think, one of...
Oh.
I think he might be the only survivor. There might be one other one. I think there was a gnome. But Wilfred is
The
the
wood
only...
elves were picking them off.
They
That
were
was...
specifically...
Eyeball gnome. Eyeball gnome survived, right?
No, eyeball halfling, he's dead. He got shot in the eyes. He got an arrow in both eyes. But yes, they were explicitly picking them off, and they were, they weren't discriminating against killing other people next to them, but they were very explicitly hunting the people that were doing the gross things. So yeah, I think Wilfred might be the only one. I think there might be a gnome that was bashing brains in and had brains all over her hammer, but yeah, he's the one that had the necklace. So everybody is very quiet about this. It seems to be accepted that this shit doesn't happen again. So Opilius kind of just lays it out a bit more and just, explains that the whole idea of this campaign is to basically leapfrog from one port to the next, seizing or raising them as they go. We can size it up and see if you think we can't hold the town, we could just burn it to the ground, burn the port to the ground to make sure that the elves can't challenge our naval superiority. And he looks at you, the Goblin, says, "What do you think?"
I'm ready.
And he looks at Squirrel and he says, "What do you think about holding a town versus just burning down the port? Seems like one's a lot easier than the other, right?"
Yeah, that's true.
You think
I don't know how. Yeah, you made a pretty nice trebuchet out of this one, though. Trying to give him a little bit of props.
He nods and says, "Yeah, that's a work of art. Not like that." And he glances at Frankko for a moment before stopping his sentence. Yeah, that's a work of art. And he says, "Yeah, I mean..."
I see. So that was another dig on the play. Is that the way?
A little bit, yeah.
You just can't let it go.
Can't let it go. He hates it. He just fucking hates it. Yeah. So again, he lays it on the table a bit and he just starts talking some more about it. But a soldier begins to refill his wine for his third glass, but he stops him about halfway through. And he stands up and he says, "We leave the morning after next. I'm going to debrief the new governor, but then we're out of here. Enjoy tonight, rest up tomorrow, and pack up your shit." He pounds the rest of his wine and gets up to leave, unless anyone wants to stop him. No one's stopping him? Dax, want to say or do anything? You're just being quiet? You're just listening, fly on the wall?
Well, I'm trying to not get noticed at this moment before they figure out that I'm in the wrong place. So I'm just going along until they realize after I've been here long enough, oh, he is part of the crew, I guess.
Fair enough. Yeah, exactly. I've seen that face once or twice. So he's got to be one of the goblins, yeah. So,
yeah, I've been here. I've been at all the meetings.
Yeah,
it's fun.
exactly. Yeah,
Don't you remember me? I was the guy in the back.
You're getting some free drinks. Are any of the other goblins talking to Dax? He's next to you. He's not stealthy. He's not hiding in a corner. He's standing next to you.
As it's going around, yeah, I would ask kind of like what's this all? What was that part about, or a play, the play, and then ask a little bit about the combat and what happened. It doesn't have to happen all at this moment now, but I will ask them over time about what went down in this there since they've been here.
Do we have any tickets left? We can give them a ticket.
Encore!
We've got one more night, guys. You can do it.
G-Pain was in charge of ticket distribution, I think.
God, yeah,
There's an extra spot at the end of the play.
Yeah, there's a role that's unfilled now.
There's a role at the end of the play we need to fill.
It's true. True.
All right. So yeah, again, he encourages you to enjoy tonight. So there's still tons of whiskey and wine. So you guys drinking, or are you quitting early? What are you guys doing? Because the dwarves they're going hard. Oric is encouraging you even to join them.
Yeah, even we probably do as we told.
Right.
Squirrel's definitely lagging a couple drinks just to stay alert.
Fair enough. Does Frankko get plastered, or is Frankko also?
No, I think he would. He would
Huzzah.
partake. Yeah.
And Dax, are you drinking?
Is the wine of decent quality
Yes.
compared to what we have back home?
Yeah.
Then I'm swimming.
All right, there you go. And Puck, what's up?
I think probably after the perceived like social requirements, we would probably slink off somewhere and find a crevasse.
I need to find my warm, safe place. Okay. Yeah. So again, nothing terrible happens. I'm not trying to trick you into drinking to make bad things happen to you. You drink and you have this one night. Again, you're going to rest up tomorrow and you're leaving the morning after. And that's it.
And we can hand wave it, but let's say like as Frankko gets drunker and drunker, with Dax there, he kind of makes it a point to walk him through, especially the play, but in general, like, let me tell you a little bit more about what happened here. And he in the process, he's also trying to size Dax up a little bit to see, is this somebody he should aim to like incorporate and associate with, or does he want to keep him at a distance?
Dax in the front seems openly friendly. Doesn't seem to be hiding much. I described that I kind of got incorporated into the army, not necessarily against my will, but I did volunteer. But I am not a long-term soldier. This is not a career choice.
It never is.
Yeah. And I do ask how you guys all ended up joining up. Was this a choice you guys made, or is this a choice that you kind of got coerced into? Was this each of you did volunteer to come into the army, or was it something you guys got caught up in somehow?
Yeah, but so for Squirrel responds that he was expecting a lot like you, where expected there to be exotic treasures and fantastic things to be seen and taken, and that just hasn't panned out so far, which is why he's so anxious to move on.
Frankko would say something along the lines of, "This isn't what I would choose if I could choose, but given the choices I had, this was the next best thing." And so he goes on to explain further, this play that I put on here that's what I do. And I really want to try to make the most of this experience, the battles, the drama, and bring that back into my work. That's the best I can do at this point.
Puck will look at you as though you should already know this and inform you that the hair beyond the stars has shown him the way.
I'll nod to that. I'd go, okay.
His eyes flash a strange blue.
As Puck wraps up, as Puck wraps up talking, Frankko will kind of lean over into Dax and say, "If you show him the hair under your fedora, it will warm him up to you."
I lean over and ask, are those eye things? Is that normal?
You asking Frankko, or?
Yeah, I lean over to Frankko. And he leans me. It's like, are the eyes from? I'm not going to Black. I'm scared of him.
Normal or normal for him?
Well, yes and yes.
He's one with the hair. That's all I can say. You'll understand soon.
Okay, a nod. Like I understand what you're saying, and pretend I'll go with that.
I'm fighting to eat.
Okay.
No, that makes more sense to me than the hair. So that made sense.
Here you go.
As the night wears on and even drinks more and more, The dog is sort of off the leash, so he's very congenial with you guys, very standard, very congenial with the dwarves. But Oric has to basically pull him out of a couple of scuffles now and again when somebody rubs him the wrong way, which is something that does not happen on the regular for him.
Dog is off the leash. I like it. All right. So the night goes on. Some of you get drunk. Some of you nurse your beers. Some of you slink away to a crevasse. And you all awake the next morning. Some maybe a little hungover, but you have the whole day to kind of recover. So if there's anything you want to do in your last day in town, anybody you want to talk to, you are free to do so. Additionally, the new colonists have brought money and will happily buy weapons, equipment, and supplies and stuff from you if you like. So we do have that common loot pile you've just been kind of sitting on because you couldn't do anything with it. And now if you don't want something, like basically they will buy it at you at the regular market rate. Like they would rather keep it here than have you take it with you, essentially. So if there's anything on that loot sheet you want to have on your character sheet, go ahead and take it. If there's anything you want to give to Mendax, you can give it to Mendax. That's up to you.
Oh no, I was not here for any of that, so that's not me.
It's all mundane stuff anyway. But if there's stuff on that list you want, please take it now. And if not, you can essentially liquidate it if you want. If you'd rather just leave it in the pile of common loot, you can. But essentially, as you're leaving, if you want to just like sell a bunch of, leather armor to have here for the soldiers to use during their occupation, you can sell it here now.
Yeah, I think we can certainly hawk like the armor we aren't wearing and the weapons we aren't using.
All right.
But like disposables like the acid flasks, I think are probably worth keeping around.
Okay.
Presumably the good berries expired. We could probably
Yeah. I kind of just put that there in case I needed to give out more good berries.
I see.
But yeah, I ignore that one. That's also nothing. It's 0. But yeah, so if you want acid flasks, you can drag them onto your sheet and you can keep them there. If you want to keep them in the common loot, we can kind of leave them there and kind of deal with it. But yeah, is there anything else on that list of stuff you guys want? If so, drag it onto your own sheet and let me know. Additionally, you have stashed at the dock a cask of whiskey that you found that G-Pain figured was older than the other ones by this is elven whiskey, which is already like decades or centuries old, and this is like a significantly old whiskey that they've aged for hundreds of years. And you guys figured it was probably worth money, so you kind of you turned it around so the label is facing the wall and put like a tarp over it or whatever. So are you trying to sell that whiskey now, or are you trying to wheel it onto the boat?
Probably
just
sell it, yeah.
Sell it. Yeah. We don't want to really lug it around, especially we're going deeper into elven country.
Yes.
We're going to be able to sell it to them. That's
Well, you can also just
unlikely.
take it, yeah. But yeah, okay. So if there's anything on you want on the sheet, go ahead and take it. If not, I'm going to liquefy it at the end of the session, on Discord or whatever. So
Yeah, and if he's going to liquefy it, then Dax, you should just take what you want out of there.
Yep. So I don't need to do it right now, but I'm just letting you know that right now, basically, you can sell anything you want, and we can do this on Discord if you want to. We don't have to do loot stuff now.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically, they will buy your stuff as you're leaving. You have this pile of loot that is yours as per the rules of the company. You are allowed to keep the stuff that you kill and drag off bodies. So we can do that later. Anything else?
In the day that we still have there, that night, can Frankko try to earn some income from these new colonists by doing a solo puppet show?
Yes. Yes. Is that just like a perform skill?
I assume so.
Yeah, I'll look it up. Roll a perform check, and I'm pretty sure that's how this works. Oh, look at this. What? This is a
Oh my god, that's a lot of text.
Jesus.
I assume I'll just roll a perform check.
Yeah, roll
and we can
perform.
decide. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And what? So you're doing a puppet show. What is the
Yeah, just
what
like
is the
his one of
theme
his.
or genre of your puppet show?
It's kind of one of so he like recycles one of the old ones that he used to do in between his like few shows that he would get cast in. So it's just like a kind of dumb raunchy puppet type thing. Think like Avenue Q if anybody knows that. Something like that. No particular theme, just general stupidity.
Yeah. So let me do that. One day, one block. Do. Trained. And of course, like the PRD has like a form to do this. You fill in the numbers and like it just works. Like it's supposed to give you a number and it didn't work, so that's wonderful. But you critically succeed with a 24, so I assume you make a lot of money. Does it say anything? Critical success. Task level. This is like a level 2 thing. Train. So I'm confused because it says train 3. Okay, I have to look this up. The answer is yes, and you critically succeed, and I will look it up.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Crit success on for 4 to earn income. And they eat it up. So again, you did this mostly for the new troops, but are you letting out like are you doing this in secret or are you letting everybody see it? Like can the elves come and watch?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. He makes it more known to the colonists who actually have the money, but
Fair enough.
if others find out about it, he's not going to turn them away. So
fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so it's mostly for the new troops, and some of the old troops come too, and they like this way more than the other play you did. So this is kind of again, this is like the wheelhouse of stuff that the common soldier really enjoys. And yeah, you do earn some money, do earn some coin, and you get some more renown for you in the Goblin Commandos. As you're now more than just a commando. You're an interesting person, and people are taking loot. That's good. And we can do that. Does anybody else want to do anything during the day and or night before you leave? Okay. Alright. Liquefy loot. You do another little play. And I guess we're good to go. So you guys are back on the dock. I guess I'll go to the dock map. Why not? Boop. Scene. There you go. And the boat is being loaded up, and everybody is arriving with their own gear. And things are going well. So your whole troop is there, and you've basically been reinforced back to full. So essentially, you started with 60 over the course of the entire first bit of the adventure. You lost a total of 15 people, and 15 more of the 150 people that came joined Opilius's troop. And they were mostly humans, but again, you got a couple dwarves, a gnome. And Mendax, are you just gonna walk onto the boat? You didn't talk your way in, so you didn't talk to.
Yeah, well, I didn't know to talk to yet, but yeah, so whoever I need to, I'll make sure I talk to them and convince them that, my father was a great warrior leader in our tribe, and that I have learned lots of skills from him, and that I find it very effective if you incorporate it into your lead fighting group would be the best thing to do.
Are you going to Opilius, or are you going to one of the other like higher ups in the chain of command?
I'd probably work my way up, try to get somebody slightly lower than Opilius, rather than approach him. Somebody who's maybe not quite as the sharpest pencil in the box.
Okay,
work my way up to them.
Okay, so yeah, so you kind of give me a perception check to see how much you intuit about the chain of command based on what you've seen between Opilius giving orders and things like that.
Perception, you said?
Is it? Yeah, that's perception. It's also like sense motive now these days, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't do a great job sussing that out, but you come to believe that you work your way up the chain and you get to Oric, which is the dwarf that knows Even very well. And when you start talking to him, he looks confused. And he says, "You want to evens, boys?"
Yes, of course I am.
And he looks over at you even and gestures with his head towards Dax, as if like, you know this
And
guy.
even will shrug and then nod.
He's like fine with me. Get on the boat.
Yes, sir.
Orc is not the sharpest tool, but yeah, if Even's good with you, you're good with Oric. Worst case scenario, Even can eat you. That's the way Oric sees it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, best case scenario.
Probably the only scenario. I don't think
Yeah.
there's just a matter of when.
Yeah. Goblins gonna eat goblins. All right. So everybody's there. The boat's being loaded up. Governor Geo Magifalcus comes down with a good number of guards, and dozens of colonists come down to see you off at the docks. As I said before, elves have been banned from the docks, so none of your elven friends, in quote, are allowed to come see you off. To your surprise, there is no ceremony. There is no grand speech. Opilius hauls his own gear down to the boat like everybody else. He doesn't have people carrying his own stuff. He's not stopping to wave bye to the town or say anything noble on his way out. He's just marching onto the boat and heading off. Does anybody else want to say or do anything as you leave Thaeth? Nope. All right. Then the ship departs. The ship pushes off, and you begin sailing towards the east. And this is a boat. It's a big boat on the water. And I think I need to add Mendax to this one. Yep, everybody else is already on it. Okay. So you are sailing off. And Frankko, you have sailing lore, but you said before that it's basically academic, like you studied a bunch
Correct.
of stuff, like to.
Yes.
Okay, so you're not very useful on an actual boat.
Probably not.
Okay, and G Payne isn't here, but he is a bit better, so I'm gonna roll for him a little bit while we're just go on the map and roll. So I'll add him to the map there. Boom. All right. So you guys are going a long a ways. Mendax, are you a trained sailor? Oh, you're a navigator. That's right. You did say that.
Yeah, it's past in the background. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, and I'll roll for G-Pan. Sailing lore. Yeah, so you guys are both fairly good. So again, there are a couple of crew members that are like actual sailors by training. And again, the human empire is new to sailing. Like, I say they're sailors. Like, this is like one of the first boats the human kingdom has built. So they are sailors in that they are like one of the people who've been trained to do this. But you guys have apparently, done your homework as well. And both of you have gained the respect of the crew to the point where they trust you to know what they're talking about and to help, get things going. And as you guys are beginning to sail off, you both perform admirably in that regard and are making things a lot easier for the handful of sailors that they have. All right. So the boat leaves the port, continues on for a 3-week journey. And after a couple of hours at sea, it begins to rain. So it
Joe,
begins to rain. Yes, sir.
Did it rain at all during the week and a half that we recorded?
No. Well, I mean,
Just
regular.
that one
Yes.
time.
Yes. I assume there'd be regular rain, like, yes, but nothing untoward. It wasn't like flooding you the whole week. When it begins to rain, many in the crew grumble and head below deck to kind of get out. So you see a bunch of them come down, and there's a couple different layers of the deck. If you go to the bottom of the map, there's actually different sections and stuff you can look at. So yeah, so people go under the deck to avoid it. So the people who are actually in charge of sailing stay up there, but most other people kind of get out of the way. And they don't want to be in the rain. Alright. So let's take some people off. So things are going well. You guys are continuing on your way. And over the course of the next hour, the wind begins to pick up. And the skies begin to darken. The wind begins to whistle quickly around the ship. And things are still going well. The ship is getting a little bit of chop now and bouncing a little bit, but you're still headed in the direction you're going in, and the sailors are cursing the weather. And Mendax and G-Pain, you both help pilot the ship, and you are keeping it in the direction things are going well, and you're listening to all the orders that they are giving you to help with the sails and everything, all those things. And like I said, the begins to get a bit cloudy, and as time goes on, it gets darker and darker as the clouds and the fog begin to get thicker and thicker. Right. And soon, even though it's only early morning or the mid-afternoon at this point, it gets fairly dark. As you get further and further out, another hour passes, and the cloud cover is so heavy and the rain is so powerful that it almost feels like nighttime in the afternoon. And they light some lanterns on the ship, and it becomes hard to see what's going on in front of them. And at this point, the ship begins bouncing a bit, and it rocks back and forth as the waves crash against the hull. So, everybody make a fortitude save, and you can have a +2 if you have sailing lore trained. Look at that squirrel. Look at this guy. On your stomach. Oh dear, Puck.
Oof.
Oh dear, Puck.
Is there a trick for adding +2 to it? If I just do it at the
well,
end?
I think when you hit it, it will ask you. Try it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Let me know if it doesn't.
It did.
Okay. It did not, you said? Well, that's good
Nope.
anyway. Either way.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah.
That's
So-
my word.
Yeah, so Puck, you feel sick to your stomach as the roiling waves are going on. And at this point, is anybody else going under the deck? Or are you all on the main deck? I assume the people who are doing sailing stuff are going to hang on the main deck. But is anybody else going under as the waves are getting worse?
I will tie myself off to something.
Yeah, Squirrel
I don't care
feels
what it
the
is, but I'm
same
tied
way.
to something.
Yep.
Okay. Alright. Yep, so the storm begins to get worse, and you start to hear lightning.
How far are we from land at this point? Like, can we still see the coast, or?
Not with the fog anymore, but you'd believe that the coast should still be fairly nearby, yes.
Okay.
But the winds are picking up, and the crew is beginning to talk. As you would assume, the crew is beginning to talk about turning around or what they should do, or finding a place to make landfall. But again, the fog is heavy, the sky is dark, and they don't know what they're doing. So one of the humans in the front of the ship shouts, and he points and draws everybody's attention to the ship's bow. About 2 miles in the distance, towards the east, the direction you're heading, the clouds begin to swirl ominously and crackle with lightning. The wind whistles louder and louder, eclipsed in your ears only after lightning strikes and the roar of thunder briefly takes over. You already rolled a sailing check. You guys are good.
Do I sense any magic in the storm? The weird storm zone. Yeah, what is the range on this? I guess.
I think it's only 60 feet, right? 30 foot. Yeah. So you're scanning around in your area, and you don't detect any magic going on there. And I have this cool thunder effect, but I have it muted in my spectator, so it actually doesn't do the lightning, which is sad.
We see the flash.
I know you do, but my spectator doesn't, which is like the thing I'm recording. The thing I'm streaming does not have lightning effects, which is sad.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
But yeah. Okay. Blah 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 blah. So
the captain have us trying to turn away from it or anything?
Yes,
or veer away from this?
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, once your attention is now drawn to this, the captain begins shouting, and they're turning. They want to turn towards the land now, and someone begins shouting about the rigging, and someone up above you shouts that the sails are going to tear in this sort of wind. But the majority of the crew is focused on they're transfixed now on the swirling clouds ahead of everybody, and they're shouting that we should get out of the way, get out of the way. But before you do, you all look on in horror as a massive arm extends from the center of the clouds down towards the sea. As it does, the crashing waves beneath it sink and give way to reveal a giant but slender female figure rising from the ocean. She ascends, arm outstretched, reaching for the other arm in the sky. Her shimmering blue torso and long, green, flowing hair are luminescent, standing starkly against the dark gray of the storm. And Puck, at this distance, for her size, you would estimate that she is maybe a mile tall and have hair half a mile long.
It's a big hair.
And is it the same kind of hair that we saw?
Yes. Yes.
from the
Does it
picture?
match? Does it match my lock?
Yes, you believe it does match. Yes. Seems very similar. The arm from the sky continues reaching downward as the visage of a gray old man with a long white beard emerges from the clouds. Lightning arcs and crackles frequently as he effortlessly pushes his way out of the clouds. The whistling of the wind becomes almost unbearable. You no longer hear any of the shouting. The only sounds you hear are the wind and the thunder. So you guys are trying to basically, at this point you're taking the sails all the way down. You're terrified that they're just going to be torn to shreds. And the captain is trying to drive the ship to land, but the waves are bouncing underneath you and the sails are coming down. And we have a handout. So this is what you guys see in the distance. You see like an old man reaching down towards a young woman. Sky to sea.
This all seems normal.
This is totally fine, yeah. And I have music I should have been playing, so
Very Michelangelo.
very much. So as you watch, they are reaching and just ascending and descending, getting closer and closer to each other. And then finally, the two touch. The tips of their fingers just merely grazing each other. And in that instance, there is a blinding flash. As your eyes begin to work again, you are barely able to make out the visible shockwave heading towards the ship. The ship is rocked upwards as it hits, and everyone scrambles to grab onto something. Most of you have tied off, which is very smart, very helpful for you guys. Most of you find yourselves near a sturdy object, or already tied off, that are very easy to be grabbed, but you watch as others on the deck fail to do so, and begin to roll off the deck towards the roiling waves. So basically the ship rocks up high enough that people are rolling down off of the deck. And you guys are in a position where you're tied off or close enough to grab something, but essentially, can you grab someone else who's falling? So I need to roll some dice. Let me go ahead and roll. It's 5 of you. Wow, okay. Yeah, so everybody but 1, 2, 3, 4. So, Dax, you are the only one who doesn't have somebody falling next to them. So, yeah, so everybody else, you can make me a reflex save as somebody is tumbling past you. Squirrel, you grab Auric as he is rolling off the deck. And you manage to catch him and save him. Even, you grab one of the sailors. Frankko, you have failed to grab Orin. Orin slips from your hands and plunges into the water below. Orin, the elf expert.
That's our elf expert.
He wasn't that useful, so
No, yeah,
Well,
it's all right.
we're,
much better than losing the cook.
we're at the end of the session. We're at the end of the session, so let's say
Are you gonna hero point it?
the first hand that Frankko tries to grab with slips, but as he's doing that, he kind of quickly switches and sees if he can grab him with the puppet.
All right, yeah. So he's
Are you
sliding
sure you
down.
don't want to intentionally fail the save?
You could. He's bouncing off things and reaching for you.
Now that
hand
you know who it
slips.
is,
It's true. Yeah, so go ahead. You can reroll it if you want. No.
no.
No, so yeah, you try heroically to switch your grip to get your other hand down there fast enough, and it's not enough. And you watch as he bounces off one of the poles and then hits the water. And Puck, you were quick enough to save Lynn. No, Lynn was down there already. One of the half-orcs, a back Puck, the male half-orc, you managed to grab his arm and save him. But Frankko, you have to live with the fact that Orin is dead. Or missing or in the sea. So, the vessel then rights itself, and you hear the cracking of wood, and the ship continues to be thrown about. Most of the troops are fully panicking now. The few that are not are either looking over the edge of the ship for the comrades who had fallen over, or doing their best to finish shortening the sails and righting the ship. And everybody can make a survival or a sailing lore check as the ship is being thrown around in all sorts of directions. Man, these survival checks today have been brutal. Mendax, you are pretty sure that even though the ship is moving in very random directions, being thrown around in all directions, you get the sense that you're being pushed west more than anything else. Like, decidedly, you're moving in the westward, which is the exact opposite of the direction you were heading. So you were being pushed west. And
West is back from the direction we came from.
yes. You came from the west, correct.
How about damage to the ship? Is there any noticeable damage from these hits?
Yes. So again,
You said cracking. What kind of wood? Are we talking the mast? Are we talking the side of the ship?
you're talking the side of the ship. You believe that the way that the ship got thrown up and then hit back down on the ground, the cracking is probably the actual hull of the ship has been cracking with the sailing all like that. So you know you're probably in bad shape. Things are going badly, and I wish I had more dramatic bad storm music at this point. But after another hour and a half of being tossed about, wood cracking, and the captain unable to right the ship, basically you're at the mercy of the sea at this point, the thunder roars 3 times in rapid succession, mimicking a low, grumbling laugh. As it does, a large wave looms in the east, growing more and more massive as it approaches. By the time it reaches your ship, it appears to be clipping the clouds in the sky above. It crashes directly into the ship, shattering it into splinters. The force of the wave nearly knocks you unconscious. You plunge into the cold water, grasping for anything to stay afloat. Your head aches, the waves churn, everything goes black. And I think we're gonna stop.
So we should bring new characters next week?
No, you're fine. Everything's fine. Just you guys are doing it.
Good game,
I
man.
got the new character out. It's fun, guys. Well,
Yeah,
so much
I'm
for
glad
that.
you brought Dax into the mix. I think he might be cursed. I don't want to say anything, but I think everything was going great until that guy showed up.
Real- Middle name's Darkness.
Oh, no. You should have told us that. All right.
No, that would fit.
Dax, Darkness, Mendax. All right. So we had a couple of morals. Let's do morals MVP. There was costumed hair. I was going to start eating the fish. Thunder goes off in the distance. I'm not eating. That was even. Is that the rain or is that you? And then a thunderbolt. And toast to the darkness, Frankko. Go ahead and vote with emojis. Talk about it. And then MVPs. Who did what and who was great? Was not great.
Well, I mean, Mendax talks his way onto the ship and into the party, which is a pretty important accomplishment.
I really did enjoy how he just like walked into the meeting.
Yeah, I like the contribute. We don't often recognize the offline Discord contributions too, and we had some good pros in this past session.
Very true. Very true.
So you want to vote for Even or Frankko for their pros contributions during the week?
Yeah, yes, I'm nominating both of them.
Okay. Alright, so you can /GM me, /GM, vote for whoever you like. And if you guys like that pro stuff, I could just give out hero points just for doing it to encourage people to do it. I could just give you free ones for writing pros if you guys are interested in writing stuff up, because I enjoy that as well. It's a really awesome way during the week. Yep, that's a good message. Will, you got it. So go ahead and vote.
Never.
Always
I have no idea how to vote, by the way.
Oh, just /GM in the chat, and it's like a whisper to me privately.
Into which chat?
The VTT chat.
Okay. I got that here somewhere, I'm sure.
You don't have chat? It's on the right side.
Oh, I do. I like 4 things open.
Oh, yes. Alright, looks like the moral that one is toast to the darkness. Alright, I have 3 votes. I need more votes.
I'm going to abstain due to my late arrival.
You arrived about the same time as Dax did. Oh, man. That's the /, yes. /GM space the vote.
So the next session is not going to be called Assault on Thaeth, I
It
assume.
is not.
Are you going to give us a sneak peek of what it's going to be called?
Bottom of the sea?
Underwater goblin corpses.
The afterlife.
I don't want to give you that teaser.
All right.
No.
Fair enough.
Assault from the darkness.
Alright, I have a tie, so I think you're going to have to vote, Chris.
Uh-oh. In that case, I vote for the smooth-talking party entrance.
Well, that doesn't quit the tie.
I can't help
More
you.
time.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I saw.
Fair enough.
You read the pros. You can
That's
vote
true.
on the
That's
pros.
true. The pros
You
were
could.
solid.
You could. Which pros did you
Solid
like better?
pros.
Now it's a very...
All right, let's go.
Now we know what you're going to vote for.
It's an
Jesus,
intense-
Jesus. Yeah.
Pressure's on.
Oh man, I can't. I just can't.
You can't pick.
I can't make that decision. No.
Gotta roll a die.
I'm gonna maintain my useless vote.
Breaks ties.
It's just helps no one.
All right, we're gonna go with you're both gonna get one. So I'm gonna go with Even and Frankko both get a hero point, and I think I'm gonna go with what I said, which kind of correlates with this. Is if you write pros during the week, I will just give you a hero point, and that just is that. So there you go. That works out. So yeah, Even and Frankko are both gonna get a hero point this week, and that's that. So yeah, thanks for playing. Thanks for watching, everybody out there on the internet lands, and I will see you in 2 weeks.